Let's play a little what if. What if they score 50? What if it's close? Let's kind of go through some scenarios here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Maroon never looks so good with Maroon U. I am David Nuño, and my partner to the left is Olin Buchanan. What's up, OB?
What's up? I don't know. Just another
You were just excited
day
a
closer.
moment ago, and right now you seem like you're...
No, I'm very excited. Just
Okay,
another
good.
day closer to the football season. But it's what's up? I guess
You're actually
I guess
answering it, yeah.
the Astros are in
Are we in first place?
first place
Tied with the Mariners. Yeah. And the Rangers?
They're gagging, like I said they would.
Well, that's not a good thing.
But it's not good, but it's not surprising.
You've been calling it since, I don't know, June-ish, perhaps?
Yeah.
July?
I mean, even when it looked good, I said, I don't think so. I don't think.
Even
it's
after
gonna
the
hold
big trade for Scherzer, you're like,
I thought, okay, it's better,
but
they still don't have a bullpen.
yeah.
And they got a lot of guys that can come up with the bases loaded and not deliver.
Well,
They just don't have clutch guys,
no.
except for Jonah Heim
They don't
and
have,
maybe Corey Seager.
the team that I like has a lot of clutch guys, but the team out west, really out west, is hot. But
Yes, they are.
their schedule is, I think they get the Mets next, which should be a cakewalk. Sorry, OB. But after that, I think it gets a little dialed up. So we'll see how they finish it out. But we're going to talk a little A&M football. I did get it.
Of course we are.
Huh?
Of course we are.
So let's play out that scenario, okay? They score 50. Does that tell us anything, OB?
You know what? Normally I would say no,
It tells me something.
but it if they score 50, especially if most of them are offensively, not there's like a couple of defensive touchdowns.
I'll take a couple of defensive
Yeah,
touchdowns.
sure. I mean, I'll take any touchdown, but I need to see the offense showing signs of life.
Yeah.
And 31 points like last year against Sam Houston, a team that you should be able to, you're just better, more athletic. That doesn't tell me that much. But 50 might.
Look, the score doesn't tell me. You need to see the game to really know if the score tells you anything, right? So you can't just, hey, he scored 54. That sounds fantastic in theory. How do they look, right? How are they moving? Are they efficient? Are they creative? Are we getting the guys the ball in space? That, to me, is all part of the analysis. But I'll tell you what, scoring a 50 spot, call it 50-3. Let's just say that for right now. You should beat New Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you should destroy New Mexico.
Yes.
But it just tells the world we're taking this season serious.
Yeah, I hope so. Again, a couple of years ago, what was it, 2021, they beat New Mexico, I think 35-0, 34-0, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To me, that's a very vanilla. Last year, Tennessee led the nation in scoring. All right, when they were an explosive offense.
Were they 44 points a game?
Something like that. But the point I'm going to make is that you're not going to score that all the time, but you got an idea of what was coming. They played Ball State in their opener. All right, a team you should destroy. And you know what they did? They destroyed them. They scored 59 points. 2 weeks later, they're playing Akron, a team they should destroy.
Did they destroy them?
They scored 63.
I like 63.
So, and then, then they got into SEC play. And
It averages out a little bit.
well, they scored 38 against Florida and 40 against LSU and 52 against Alabama. But they gave you saw you saw what they were capable of.
Right.
And when you go out against a team like New Mexico, no offense, and you score 34 points, it makes you wonder how good this offense is if you can only get 34 against New Mexico. And that year, offense was an issue.
Yeah.
Most of the year.
Now, what if they take their foot off the accelerator and
Don't.
keep scoring?
Just keep scoring. You need to. Set a culture. Like what did Nia Smith say this week?
Kill?
Just kill. Just make them never want to come back to Kyle Field.
That's what it felt like when the Wrecking Crew was here. People did not want to come. And I'm not making this all about defense. I'm just saying the culture of coming to Kyle Field, it matters right now. Let's make it matter all year long.
I'm all for sportsmanship to a certain degree, but this is a program that needs to break out.
Yeah. So let's play the other scenario.
Okay.
What if it's semi-close at the half? By semi-close, something that we saw last year with Sam Houston, something that we saw with Kent State. It's you got the game in hand, but it's really, kind of like what USC went through right? Like it's closer than it should be, but you're in control.
Yeah, then I think that's going to be a reason for concern. San Jose State's not great, but I think they won like 7 games last year. New Mexico with 2-10 and almost I know they've changed their lineup. Who knows if that's for the better? Look, you need to go out and just absolutely dominate an opponent.
You do.
The lesser opponent, show why they're a lesser opponent. Not because they're bad, but because you're that good. I've seen bad when I covered Texas. I saw some bad Texas teams play bad teams and even then win. Like if you're in the 40s, you're like, okay, you did what you're supposed to do, but I don't know if I came away thinking that you're just this dominant team.
Right. Look, I need opposite of what we've seen the last year. Right? I mean, like the last 2 years, I want step on the throat. Now, what I want doesn't equate success, right? I mean, to me, it equates success, but they've got their game plan. They're going to follow it. And if they're up, call it 42-0 in the fourth quarter, they may just run the ball. And hopefully they can make it 56-0 after that, right? But they may just call the dogs off because they're more of a ball control. I think they're still going to be ball control. I still think that they're going to rely on the run a lot and eat some clock.
I guess I don't know what to think. I don't think they're going to rely on the run as much. I don't think they're going to be a wide open pass every down type team. But when you got the receivers you've got with the run after catch ability that they have, again, you got to feed the studs, right?
Keep feeding those studs.
Feed them a lot.
Yeah.
You make it a 7-course meal.
Think about that line you just had right there when we do our spot about Fargo's. I think that's a good way to we got to feed the people. But that's coming later, not yet.
Okay.
All right. If you want to be a part of the conversation this morning, you can call us, you can text us, and tell us what you think. What if it's close at the half? Close-ish. I don't expect close. Close-ish. Closer than we want. What is considered closer than we want? 21?
Oh, gosh, yes.
So if it's 21-0 at the half, you're upset.
I don't know if I'm upset, but I'm a little bit
I mean, that would be 42.
perplexed.
If you continue, that's 42-0. It's nice.
Again, 42 though
doesn't do anything for you.
Well, I mean,
I gotta see it.
I don't against a program that won 2 games last year and one of them was against Maine. If you're up 40, if you score 40 points in a game, I'm like, I don't know that I'm seeing anything that tells me this is going to be a dynamic offense.
But if you see 35 at the half,
then I'm like, all right, talk to me.
Let's do the post-game wrap now.
I'm not saying we have to go for 70, but definitely go for 50.
Let's go for 60.
60 is sexy.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, as I mentioned, 979-693-1150. Let's go behind the glass and say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you?
I'm great. Just another day closer to kickoff. It doesn't get much better than this. We got football tonight, now that I think about it. We got Florida-Utah, a good game, or hopefully going to be a good game. So
I don't think Cam Rising's playing in that game, it looks like.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But
SEC in that case, right?
I may still go with Utah.
I don't think I am. I don't know. I just can't imagine. I don't know. You don't think Graham Mertz can bring the heat?
I think if Graham Mertz was really good, he'd still be at Wisconsin.
Possibly. Hey, I guess we can do a teaser. I don't know what else you want to talk about here, Nick, but we've got some cool things to start the show tomorrow, don't we?
Yeah, tomorrow going to be a little bit of a switch up.
The old switcheroo.
Yeah, I know some folks are fans of the trophies intro and all that good stuff, but we're going to bring a little bit more production value tomorrow and going forward. So we're excited about that. So make sure you're watching on CW, YouTube, TexAgs, wherever you can, or just keep listening. You'll enjoy listening to it as well.
New intro.
Sorry, you got a lot of trophies.
I mean, yeah, but I don't keep them out. There's only one that I have that's displayed. That's actually at my parents' house. It's displayed. It is I'm very proud of this. When I worked at 1560 The Game, Raheel, myself, John Harris, and Lance Zerline were on a 3-on-3 basketball team.
Okay.
That dominated the media circuit.
Oh, okay.
We played against Calvin Murphy. We played against Sean Respert. We played against some of the best. And Mark Berman, who's not a big man, and a lot of small radio people. And we dominated, and we won 3. I think maybe it was 4 championships. I have the 3rd trophy.
Were you the star of that team?
I was not the star. I was the defensive Eduardo Nahara of the team.
Okay. Which
Raheel was the star.
Which means other people were shooting.
Yeah, I don't shoot. I mean, I scored like maybe 2, but like Calvin Murphy and I got into it. It was great.
Really?
He would have destroyed me.
He's a real tough guy.
He's a
I know
Golden
he's
Gloves
short
champion.
now.
Yeah, I mean, even at this age.
Yeah, real tough guy.
But I don't back
Almost
down.
beat the hell out of Sidney Weeks in a game.
That's right. That's right. Nick, anything else, buddy? No.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. The Angry Elephant, like your politics, love your bar. Find an Angry Elephant near you. Bryan, College Station, Magnolia, San Antonio. Go check them out. All right, we've got Luke Evangelist there. Luke, how are you?
I'm good. I'm not going to say anything bad. I'm just going to get straight into the updates today. Got a Donovan Green update for you. He said, "Hey, Aggie Nation, just wanted to give you all a quick heads up that I'll be having ACL surgery today. It's finally time to fix this and come back even stronger. Thank you for your endless love and support. It truly means the world to me, and I'll keep you updated on my recovery journey." And then Bryce Foster also said, "Praying for a successful surgery, my guy. You got it, partner."
God, it's a big loss. Luckily, at a position where you've got some guys you expect to be able to fill in, and I mean, I think he and Jake and Max were all going to play a lot anyway. So it's just going to be maybe Theo gets more of a look now.
You know who is amazing is whoever the guy, the doctors like 10 years ago that started figuring out how to repair the ACLs, because it used to be like, okay, you're kind of screwed.
You're done. Your career.
Let's just try to build up the muscle around it as much. But yeah, you're pretty much done if with tore ACL. But now, now they fix it and repair it. And a lot of times they come back even better.
Yeah, they do.
I hope that'll be the case for Donovan.
Luke, what else, buddy?
Yeah, so A&M is helping fans beat the heat this Saturday against New Mexico. Fans are allowed to bring 1 sealed bottle of water into the stadium, up to a gallon, and there will be over 187,000 bottles of water for sale inside the stadium. And coincidentally, if you look at the trash can next to where David is, there's also 170,000 bottles of water in there.
Inside joke that the listeners can't see, but they're it is ridiculous.
So with 187 bottles of water for sale, so are they going to sell it at half price since it's a health concern? Or are they going to say, hey, we got 187,000 bottles of water that we can sell you for like $5 and make sure we make $1 million?
Hey, there's the bathroom faucet thing. You can go there. The one that never turns on when you put your hand in front of it. Why doesn't it ever turn on for me? Does that happen to you?
No, pretty much everything.
You're good.
Pretty much everything I put my hands on works.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to put your hands on it. You're supposed to just
or put my hands around works.
Luke, do you have problems with that?
Nope.
I'm the only one? Are you guys? Nick, come on. I can't be the only one who struggles with those little sensor ones. I can't be.
I mean, I don't think I've ever had a problem with it.
You guys are lying.
I don't think I've ever.
Every one of you, a liar.
I don't get the soap sometimes. I don't know why.
Okay.
I'm like, what? Now, where's the...
but nothing comes out.
Or I never time it right. I'll say, okay, where's the soap? And then I stop, and then the soap comes out.
Yeah, that's happened to me too. But the
water, I think I've got the water down.
Every time? I'm going to start, every time we go on a trip and we go to the restroom at the same time, I'm investigating your water.
I don't think we're going to do that.
I know somebody's going to text the show, and I have problems with it too. Luke, anything else?
No, that's all I got for you.
Thank you, buddy. OB, I got a couple of things I still want to get into before we hit a break here. Best case scenarios for A&M and the teams that they're going to play, how we want things to play out. I want you to kind of think about this. So, like with Texas, I always want them to lose. Like, there's not a scenario where I want them to win. The rest of the SEC, I typically want them to win. And my it's a different kind of thinking. Like LSU, I think I want them to win against Florida State because I want that game to matter more when A&M plays them.
Yes.
I want Bama to not only beat Texas, but win most of the games on their schedule. So when A&M plays, now don't get me wrong, if it's going to help A&M in a different way, right? Like we need Bama to lose so we get a share of the first place, then of course I want that. But I typically want
non-conference games
or even some conference games. But I typically I definitely want LSU to win against Florida State. Part of me wants to see Florida State win from just like I want to see something different. Even though they won last year. But I think it helps A&M for LSU to win.
It does.
So later, that game matters.
Well, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not about that SEC thing. I couldn't care less about any SEC team except for A&M. But it does behoove A&M for your SEC teams to win, especially these non-conference games. Now, once you get out of look, with the exception of the Texas team, Texas game, I'll root against Alabama just on principle.
Right.
If Alabama was to lose to a non-conference game, yeah, I would find joy in that because they're fans and media I don't like. But
not the Texas game.
Yeah, that's different. But yeah, the only I want SEC teams to win, especially if they're on A&M's schedule, because it means more at the end of the year when you're trying to get in the playoff if you beat good teams as opposed to teams with 500 or worse records.
Right.
So yeah, but I'm not part of that. Hey, this is the SEC kumbaya thing. No, I couldn't give a crap about any SEC team as far as rooting for them, other than A&M.
But do you like when SEC teams win the championship? Because
no,
that's the
I mean, I don't care.
So like if Michigan were to play Georgia in the championship game this year,
I'd probably root for Georgia for the three-peat.
Okay.
And Georgia fans, at least so far, haven't become, these spoiled D-bags that like Alabama is.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure they'll become that.
I've been told that we Astros fans have become that.
You may be. I don't follow
think so.
baseball enough.
We're very nice.
But, yeah, I think the story would be tremendous. But I wouldn't care if Michigan – look, why do I want, say, Alabama to win a national championship when every year there's a player or two in Texas that you're recruiting against Alabama? So, hey, I'm rooting for Alabama to put some more bullets in their gun.
So were you rooting for TCU when they played Georgia or no? Did you care?
I didn't care. I'll say this, within about 10 minutes, I was rooting for Georgia. might as well root for the team that's going to win by
100.
blowout.
All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back. We're going to do our Heisman watch here in a moment. We'll find an update since last week. Last week we had 0 week thoughts heading into it. Now we actually got some games on our belt, and we'll have much more to talk about. But you were talking earlier, OB, about feeding the studs the Bobby Petrino way.
Yeah.
Now, if he were to feed the studs, not on the football field, in a restaurant environment, here for the cheesy segue, where would he go?
Fargo's, man. In fact, I may go over there on Saturday because feed the stud. I'm
not going with you.
I know.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah. You know what? Fargo's will feed the studs. Fargo's will feed the duds. If you're hungry and you want great barbecue, Fargo's will feed you.
Even Luke could go there, right?
Even Luke. Well, that might be pushing it, but yeah.
No, they let him in. They don't mind. They want people to get their protein on.
I'm just saying that Alan, Belinda, and Reese, they're a lot nicer people than I am.
Well, this is true.
And they not only will feed you, but they'll make you feel welcome.
Yeah, will make you feel welcome. And look, I actually had somebody ask me the other day, go, it sounds to me that you like macaroni and cheese more than the protein. Not the case, but I find it just to be like, it's my dessert.
Now, I think you might. I think you like the macaroni and cheese. The protein you like, but the protein is a necessity.
It's a science,
The macaroni and cheese is the luxury.
Yeah, see, that's why we get along, because you get me, right? Yeah, you get me. We're going to feed the studs there at Fargo's. They've been
Feed them.
Feed them what?
Feed them barbecue. Feed them some rib tips on Saturday.
Today they got pork chops.
Oh, today they feed you the big old pork chop and the macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, they do, and they got much more there. 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan, without a doubt. The what?
The best barbecue in the world.
That's their trademark because
it's true.
It's Fargo's. All right, we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. A couple of chats I want to get to. Curbs09 on the YouTube page. By the way, YouTube numbers really going up, guys.
Going up. Thank you.
Keep it
going up.
Keep it going up. All right.
Like the
like
referees,
and subscribe.
Like the referees' arms are going to be doing on Saturday at Kyle Field.
Well, there's a couple thoughts about that I want to read. Here's Curbs09. Imagine rooting for LSU under any circumstance. I don't know how long he's been an Aggie fan. Maybe for 50 years, maybe for 10 years. I don't know. So for him, his hate for LSU might be our level of Texas. So I get it, right? Like, I can understand it. But again, understand my rationale. I want it to benefit A&M.
It does benefit A&M.
That's it. That's all I want. Like, I want it to benefit A&M. Jacob on the YouTube page says, I have water problems too, Nuño. It's okay. And Leanna, who works here too, who will be making her debut next week, says she has it. So I am not alone.
Yeah, but she says it in that kind of Australian accent.
Oh, you guys can't wait to hear that. It's going to be great.
And what do you expect from an Aussie?
Fitness, smart,
Trouble with water,
crocodiles.
Dundee.
Yeah. One of my role models. Chris on the
Good day,
YouTube
mate.
page says, I don't see Nuño and Olin rooting for Ole Miss anytime.
Only if it would, like, if they're
it
playing
helps.
Alabama. And
It's gonna help A&M.
If it's going to help A&M, then yeah.
100%. And Jason Rollo listening.
Oh, yeah.
And okay, so when we're talking about the score, he wanted to make sure that we thought about this. He says, don't forget the clock doesn't stop on the first downs this year, which will greatly decrease the ability to run up the score.
No,
care.
I don't think so.
Keep scoring.
Just keep scoring. Keep scoring.
Raise your arms if you're sure. That was a commercial, right?
It was.
All right. Let's do our little Heisman watch, shall we? Which is presented by the Shirtlift Law Firm. Shirtlift Law Firm, delivering justice for those who need it most. Olin Buchanan, let's begin with your number one, who is still number one.
Wait. Before
You want to go backwards?
I just want to remind everybody
Yep.
that this changes every week
Yeah.
based on performance and who I would vote for if the
In this moment.
right. So
So as of today,
as of today,
you want to
if
go
I had
5 to
vote-
1 or 1 to 5?
You tell me. You're running the show.
What do we usually do? I don't even know.
We usually go 5-1.
Let's do 5 then, because everybody knows number 1.
Okay. 5, I put Drake May, North Carolina quarterback. He's spectacular. He's got that ability to throw and run. Maybe the best dual threat in the country. But his team was only 9-5 last year, or something like that. Are they going to be significantly better? Now, he had 5,109 yards of total offense last year. I think that led the country. But if his team's not better, that's going to keep him down. But I'm gonna keep him on, not only on my radar but on my list.
Well, he's expected to be a top 10 NFL pick.
Yes.
The 1 or 2 when it comes to quarterbacks taken. Obviously, Caleb Williams is probably number 1 there. What happens if Spencer Rattler has a phenomenal game? South Carolina beats North Carolina. Does that put Spencer Rattler potentially on your list, or no? He's still got to do more.
No, I think depending on how good you said, spectacular,
Yeah.
and what other guys do, I think then Rattler has to be one of those guys you consider.
Number 4.
Sam Hartman, the Notre Dame quarterback. Now, what was it last year? He threw for 3,701 yards and 38 touchdowns at Wake Forest. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure he's going to have better talent to work with at Notre Dame. He had 251 passing yards and 4 touchdowns last week against Navy. But you're supposed to, if you're playing a lesser opponent, you're supposed to wear them out, and he did. I think, and plus he's the Notre Dame quarterback, and if you're a Notre Dame player, especially a quarterback, you always get a bump from the media.
Yeah, you do. Let's go to number 3, a guy that, that backfield, that team, they might win it all. In fact, I think I might have Michigan winning it all, which would be and then what did I see? I saw somebody say something that I had actually said on the show before. I could see Michigan winning it all, and then Jim Harbaugh saying, I'm out. But anyway, go ahead.
Blake Corum, the running back from Michigan, he rushed for 1,463 yards and 18 touchdowns last year, despite essentially missing 3 games.
Yep.
Because I think he got 2 carries against Ohio State, but he'd gotten injured in the previous game, but saying I just can't go, and then he didn't play in the last 2 games. But first of all, he's fast and he's really good. Secondly, he may be behind the best offensive line in the country. Thirdly, he gets to play in the Big Ten, which his team is almost every week he's going to have better talent to play against, and then or on his side than you're playing against. And then 4, his quarterback is good enough to make you have to respect the passing game, so you can't just load up on the running game.
Right.
So I really could see Blake Corum threatening 2,000 yards.
I agree. Let's go to number 2, and this weekend could go not necessarily a long way, but it can solidify some things.
It could get him. It could get Jordan Travis another win over LSU, especially if he plays well. It could give him kind of a pole position in this race. I think Jordan Travis is like Drake May in that he's such a spectacular guy, running pass, dual threat. Last year, 314 yards and 24 touchdowns while rushing for 417 and 7 touchdowns. There's no reason to think that he won't be at least that good this year. And he's going to, for the most part, be going against those pretty weak ACC pass defenses. And he's got good receivers, especially the big 6'7" guy. So I think he'll have if he could have if he could go out and have a good game against LSU, and he might, because the area secondary of concern for LSU is their secondary. I think he'll be a big contender.
All right, and number one, no surprise here.
Right, Caleb Williams. Yeah, he's the Heisman Trophy winner last year. We all saw what he did. He got off to a good start. 278 yards, 4 touchdowns against San Jose State. Again, that's what you should do against an overmatched opponent. But the biggest, I think, issue against him, oh, by the way, the Pac-12 pass defenses are awful.
Right.
Awful. But or based on what they were last year. So expect big numbers from him. The biggest thing he's going against him is history, in that only one guy's ever won back-to-back or even 2 Heisman trophies. But the media seems to love him. ESPN seems to love him, and that never hurts your Heisman bid.
Hey, I want to read a quick chat. We're going to go to Luke Evangelist there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. On the YouTube page, 66GTB's got something for OB, and I'm going to answer the question for him.
Okay.
Nothing. That's my answer. But go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, so the question is, Olin, what would Connor have to do to get on your list next week?
I don't know that he can get on my list next week.
He has a couple games Miami and Auburn, like high level.
Yeah,
maybe.
It was kind of like Manziel. I was touting him right after the SMU game. I was thinking, man, this guy could be a Heisman contender.
That early, really, yeah.
Well, it was so spectacular. And he played well against Florida, but the word was he could be. But it was after the Arkansas game. I remember talking to Kirk Bowles in the press box. I said, I think he's a Heisman contender right now. And Kirk was saying, oh, live me on Bill. I'm saying, I'm telling you, there's nobody that's more spectacular than this guy. And that wasn't great insight. That was average eyesight. It was obvious. I think Connor's going to have to play really well this week, of course, but to start becoming
in the chatter,
you got to do it against higher level opponents.
And by the way,
if you haven't already,
and there's others that are in the same kind of ballpark as him. Mm-hmm. So Quinn Ewers, right? Cade, like if those guys all have 2-3 weeks in a row of really good games. If Quinn has an amazing game against Bama because he had a good first half,
well, that'll make a bigger impression,
right?
And here's where here's what I dread. What if at the end of the year, the 2 best candidates are Connor Wigman and Quinn Ewers, but Ewers, when I'm looking at it and trying to look at it objectively, you can say Ewers has been better like in bigger games. Then what do you do? Because if I vote for Quinn,
people
the
come
next
after
thing
you.
Everybody's going to be mad at me.
And your vote's public, right?
Well, no, it's not supposed to be.
But sometimes.
But if I don't, after it's made, you can
say it, right?
You can say it.
Well, hopefully we don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, hopefully Connor is winning.
How dare you? You're not a real Aggie.
I'll understand what my friend Kirk Bowles went through when he voted for Reggie Bush over Vince Young.
Oh,
and people are still bringing it up.
Yeah.
Today. In fact, a lot of times I'm the one that brings it up to him.
Did you vote for Vince or Reggie?
I did. I voted for Vince.
Yeah.
I thought Vince Young was the most spectacular player.
I would have probably voted for Reggie, but
I would say go back and look at that. His Reggie Bush that year, he nailed it down with a big run against Fresno State.
Yeah.
But that Fresno State defense was awful.
Yeah, I remember that game. We got to hit a break here. The Association of Former Students is excited to host a joint constituent network tailgate the first Saturday of the football season. Former students who are involved or associated with one or more of the association's 13 networks are invited to join. The tailgate will take place on September 2nd from 3 to 5:30 at the association's tailgate tent, which will be located on the front lawn of the Clayton W. Williams Jr. Alumni Center. Tickets are available for purchase and include food and drinks, as well as the 12th man towel for the first 150 guests to arrive. When you purchase your tailgate ticket, you also receive access to purchase football tickets at a discounted rate. If you're involved in any constituent network, make sure that you watch the Ags beat the hell out of New Mexico with a constituent network tailgate this fall. To purchase your tailgate ticket, please visit tx.ag/cnjointtailgate. Welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, the official insurance provider of TexAgs Radio. The difference is real. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. They can write any form of insurance to anyone in Texas and several other states, and they've got 45 offices in this great state. The headquarters is on Highway 6 right here in College Station. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO, or go to RolloInsurance.com. It is the Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Luke Evangelist, get us started.
Yep, I've got a text message from Wendy in College Station. She said it'll be interesting to see if they run up the score. Jimbo doesn't do that normally, but I can see Petrino doing it. I'm going to split the baby because Olin wanted 35 to be happy and 21 to be concerned. I say we'll have 28 at the half, and I'll blame it on the new clock rules.
Okay.
I think 28 we'd be happy with, right?
28 gets you halfway to, or more than halfway to 50.
Yeah. I'm happy with that.
I'm shooting for 50.
Okay.
Or like Barry Switzer, we're going to hang a half 100 on them.
Look, we say all this. I have to see how the game is played, right? Like if New Mexico holds the ball a lot and, A&M decides to take their foot off the accelerator, the first half is going to tell me way more than the 4 quarters.
Well, I'm going to be concerned if New Mexico is able to hold the ball a lot.
Well, that's another. That would be concerning. But again,
their running back, the guy that they on their depth chart, that he rushed for like 1,800 yards, maybe less, in his career at Alabama A&M or Alabama State, one of those. So
what you're saying is no.
I'm saying they shouldn't be able to
run,
to control or keep the ball alive. If they do, there's some big problems.
Luke, what else do we have?
We've got a text from Matt in San Antonio saying, great article, Olin. I fully agree that it is time for more. With all the talent we've got on the roster and resources at our disposal, it's not an unreasonable expectation.
So here's the column, if you guys haven't read it. Time for more. Jimbo Fisher's Aggies need a big season in 2023. And I struggle with the term big season.
Because we don't know what it is.
I don't know what a big season to me is 10 wins at least. That's a big season.
Okay.
An acceptable season is 9 wins.
Okay.
Below 9 wins, not acceptable. Based on where you are in the program.
I think most people look at, the quote big season or a great season being 10 wins. That's kind of defines a big season. Now, is it a big season with 9 wins after you won 5 the year before?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe everybody has their own definition. However, I would be hard-pressed to believe that anyone that follows A&M would look at 8 wins and say, okay, we had a big season.
Right.
Right? If you said if they had 9 wins, you said they had a big season because they improved by 4 wins. I could say, okay, and you had a chance to win 10 in a bowl game, okay. But,
Like, talking about that on the last day of August is a little more difficult because, again, I like to see how things play out. What if, I hate doing the what if, but if there's injuries, if Jaden Daniels actually is a Heisman-worthy quarterback or what, like there's a lot of scenarios, but based on the recruiting that they've done, based on the defensive line stars, nobody should be able to move the ball on A&M.
If not now, when? Because how long, now you got the transfer portal. You don't know how long you're going to have guys. Yeah. When are you going to have all these guys, like you mentioned, defensive line? I get last year they were freshmen and everything, but now they're not. They've got experiences. And quite frankly, you only typically, if you're really good players, they have great freshmen and, sophomore and junior years, and then they're gone. So if not, now you've got this quarterback that everybody's excited about, and he's got some experience, and you're healthy in the offensive line, and you've got what should be an excellent group of receivers, unproven but highly skilled running backs. You got Bobby Petrino here. If not now, when are you going to be good? And by the way, you're coming into your 6th year under Coach Fisher. And by the way, I'm glad he's A&M's coach. I still believe in it,
I do too.
despite of that. But at some point, all that good recruiting and all those moves and everything, look what they're building across the street. How many millions of dollars they pumping into this program? At some point, you've got to get an acceptable return. And you can't keep saying it's next year. So when?
This year.
Now,
freaking
and,
do it.
And you know, the crux of the column, I was pointing out that 6 years ago, as Kevin Sumlin was going into his 6th year, Scott Woodward said, "Hey, he needs to win. He needs to win. He needs to win now." You know, he said it publicly, and there was some outrage. Oh, how can a coach under the? Well, you know what? You get, and I'm talking about Sumlin, I'm talking about Fisher, I'm talking about Brian Kelly, everybody, every coach. You get paid a lot of money. It's not. You shouldn't. It's not unreasonable to demand results.
Yeah. Well, I think Jimbo would tell you he's got to win now too. I think he would tell you that as well.
Yeah, but I think he would say, yeah, but I feel like I got to win now every year.
Right.
That's what he'd say.
But it's true.
It's true. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to fire him if he doesn't win this year, but I will say this. Kevin Sumlin, I looked it up, and I hope my White Oak education, my math skills were. Kevin Sumlin averaged 8.5 wins a year. Right now, I think Jimbo's averaging 7.8 or something. Now, part of that was because in 2020 they only got to play 10 games.
Right.
All right. So I know it's kind of skewed, but the bottom line is the bottom line.
Yep.
And the bottom line's got to get better.
Let's hit a break. When we come back, Stephen McGee will be here. And I also want for Luke to read this text that came in from a 713 so we can discuss it because, again, I don't think you can paint the same brush, but we'll get into that here in a moment. Right now we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21, and Caldwell online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you've purchased a vehicle there from Caldwell Country Chevrolet, you know that it's going to be an incredible experience, the entire car buying process. When I picked up my vehicle there, it was just awesome. I reached out to the crew out there, told them what we were looking for, and they basically delivered us a perfect vehicle for our family in great time, too. Like, it was just quick. It was easy. I was the one who took a while. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. But they do exactly what you need there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They'll do the research for you, give them a couple days, and bam, they'll get you the right vehicle at the right price. They found us a winner. They will find you a winner. It is a great company with fine people. They're involved in the community. It helps support so many clubs and charitable organizations here in the Brazos Valley. Remember, it's not a far drive. We're talking 15 minutes, Bronna Caldwell, short conversation away. But you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with our good friends there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Oh, we're so much fun here. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Our QB1, Stephen McGee, with us here from Paragon Financial. So we were doing some sophomoric humor, OB, during the break, and Stephen brought up one of our guests on the show once, or callers, I should say, or texters. He brought up Hugh, who I actually read to Schloss on the air. I was like, hey, Schloss, your reach is, I'm so stupid. Your reach is so amazing. Hugh Jazz in Australia's listening. And then it took me a moment, and I was like, oh, wait, they got me.
Got me.
They got me. It's freaking Schloss in studio.
My favorite one is the plane crash in San Francisco.
Oh, gosh, that was awful.
We too.
That was awful. Oh, my.
Which one is this?
Oh, you've never heard about that?
No,
they
okay.
read it on the
Is it-
on
they read it
the
on
the
the-
TV station.
The plane crash.
Oh,
the
no,
pilot.
Oh,
Is it
that-
a Howard Stern bit? Or?
No. It was
One of the pilot's names was We Too Low. I can tell you that one. You
and-
have to Google the rest.
Oh gosh, it was awful.
I remember when you...
Something Wong,
Oh, my gosh.
and they read it on the air in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
And then about an hour later, because we would like to offer our sincerest apologies. You know,
We need to get that happy birthdays to our listeners deal going
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
I can slowly infiltrate the system.
Oh,
and
now
just
that you
see-
know that I'm susceptible to it, you're gonna come get me. I remember what is it called? Snipe hunting? Is that what you call it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where it took me maybe 2.5 minutes, maybe longer, 5 minutes. Where I was like, he's got a bit going on with me.
Yeah,
He's got a bit.
Swope and I over here trying to get you, and you're like, man, something's amiss. Like there's something going on.
Like I could tell, like
Yeah.
I'm the joke here. Anyway, I want to do a buy-sell lease with you that is not fair, okay? But before that, let's go to the Angry Elephant Youth and Social Center. Luke, you got a text for us, right?
Yeah, I've got a text that says the problem with 9 wins was the statistical margin last year. One more touchdown in every game would have put us at 10-2. This must be a 10-win season minimum.
So we started that on this show, and I kind of changed OB on this. And, Steve, I like your take on it. I still 100% agree. You score another touchdown, you win a lot of those games. Yep. But that's every team in the SEC. Bama, you can say the same thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, the difference in the SEC West
Bama scores them.
Yeah, they do. Exactly. The good teams find a way to get those, and the average teams get half of them, and the bad teams don't. I mean, that's where football games are won and lost. It's a turnover here, it's a sack there, it's an incomplete pass there, it's everybody trying to do their job.
Here.
Yeah, blown assignment there. So yeah, I mean, that's the difference between 8-4 and 12-0 is a very slim margin, and that's what it takes to get over the hump.
You pointed out Florida earlier this year when they won the national championship in 2006 and how many close games they had to win.
That's just life in the SEC. I mean, and life to be a champion.
Do you have the guys that make, unlike the Texas Rangers, do you have the guys that can perform and make the plays in the most pivotal time of the game?
So I assume the Rangers aren't leading the division. The Astros are now?
Astros and Mariners. Mariners are the hotter team, but yeah, they're both tied for first.
Oh, boy.
Rangers are gutless chokers.
All right.
I hate that they're my favorite team.
This is an interesting one because it's going to pin Texas versus A&M and somewhere else. So buy, sell, lease. Connor, Quinn, Cade.
Quinn, you're referring to
Quinn Ewers. Sorry,
not
your
my
son.
Okay.
No.
I'm buying that one. He's having a heck of a time down there in LSU.
I might sell it just so I can, gain some money.
True. All right, I'm going to be the homeboy here, but I'm buying Connor. Remind me who Cade is.
Cade Klubnik, the Clemson quarterback, part of that same class. Sorry, 5-star.
From Westlake.
Who wanted to go to A&M? Well, there was a chance he could go to A&M.
He's a great player. I'm going to sell him.
Okay.
And I'm going to lease
Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers. That's hard though. Between the two of those guys, I'm not really sure. Kind of a flip of a coin. I've seen them both play really well and both play not so great.
Who's got the harder schedule? Texas, right? Texas has got to have a harder schedule than Clemson this year.
Are you kidding me?
I think
who's in the Big 12? Who's in the SEC and who's
they got to play Kansas.
you mean between Klubnik and I thought you were including Connor.
Not Connor.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Of course, A&M's got. I think I saw somewhere where Texas's schedule ranked like 12th in the nation, which I found it hard to believe. And Clemson wasn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
But throwing in Bama in there raises it up, obviously.
Yeah, that's true. They're both in prove me years, and they both have good players around them, and they both have good quarterbacks behind them as well. So that those situations could go a million different directions.
I think Texas has a more difficult schedule than Clemson for this reason. Texas plays Alabama on the road. Clemson plays Florida State at home. And I don't know where Clemson plays Notre Dame, but I still say Alabama is probably better than Notre Dame. And ACC, Big 12, it's about the same.
Yeah, that's fair.
Stephen, after you finished the 05 season and you had a couple starts, when you went to the next year, how different did it feel for you that you're the guy mentally and just like, and I'm using Connor as my thinking here of how different it can be for him?
You've been there, done that. You feel you've been around the block. I think the game starts to slow down a lot. Like reacting to what defenses are doing, especially, I thought was the biggest adjustment. So, yeah, you obviously feel more confident in the system and what you're doing. But once the defense slows down, then you're not reacting. You're kind of setting the tempo, and you can adjust protections, and you're seeing safeties move, and you see the whole big picture and how that works into what you're trying to do offensively. And so then you're able to be the master of the machine, so to speak, get guys lined up where they're supposed to be and, make the appropriate adjustments once you break the huddle. And that's the biggest next step for a quarterback. So I think Connor's going to be much more confident. And I think it starts by, being more confident in what he sees on the defensive side of the ball more than just his side of the ball.
We got about 20 seconds. Was there ever imposter syndrome for you? Like, all right, now I'm the guy, or did that never, you had the confidence from day one?
I think all quarterbacks have that confidence that they're going to be the guy from day one. But there he is, the man himself. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm sure Connor felt like, and hopefully Max did as well, that they were going to both be the guy, that they both earned the right to be the guy. They're both really good football players, but I'm excited to see what he does.
Thank you, Stephen. We'll have Swopey in here in a few minutes. OB, good job, buddy. Thank you. All right, when we come back, Ryan Swope and Stephen McGee. That and more. It's TexAgs Radio. And we're back, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. It is now time to get it done with our guy, Ryan Swope and Stephen McGee. This year, we're doing the Mega Powers, joining them together for this segment. What's up, Swopey?
What's up?
How you been, man?
Oh, good, man.
Always good to see you.
Yeah.
When you're in, there's a couple things I know is going to happen. You're going to be in a good mood. That's always, right? And there's probably some fire that you will throw towards Texas at some point, some shade that will happen during the segment. That I can
Might
guarantee.
not be this week, but it will be in the future.
At some point.
It's coming.
All right, so both of you, we got into Connor a little bit, the mindset, but just overall, we know he's the guy. Last week, I know you had an issue with them not naming him. He's been named now. Stephen, if you want to get us started, just your thoughts on him. It's his gig.
Drum roll, baby.
Well, Swope knows how I feel about him. I'm sold on Connor, and I may be a little bit too early to the game, or I may just be completely off. I don't know, but I've said for a long time now, I believe that he has the skill set.
The best ever. Huh?
Yeah, like I'm sold on him from the ability perspective. When you talk about a guy that can really be the tier 1 NFL caliber quarterback, the kind of things that they can do now. He's athletic, all the different arm angles. He's decisive. He pulls the trigger. He lets it rip, and he's accurate. He's a gamer. I think he's got that competitive part to him. He doesn't get too high, too low. He's very even keel. I really am a big believer. Now, this is a huge year for him. He's got to take a big step for this football team to have a chance.
Well,
yeah, I think he's got all the tangibles to be really, really good. I know that he's got a great receiving core, which I'm sure we'll get into that. But I think Petrino's offense is going to be – we're going to see something really special. I think it's going to help him as a quarterback.
I was listening to an interview with Joe Thomas talking about Johnny, and he's not a big fan because of their time there in Cleveland. And he was like, I looked at this guy. I know he had a great college career, but, like, for the NFL, he had a long windup. He wasn't as fast as I thought. He wasn't as big as I thought. So I wondered, why is it going to work? Connor, kind of the opposite, right? Like, he's got the size. I mean, what do you think about the package when it comes to him as a quarterback? Not necessarily his moxie, but the intangibles, the skills.
So, quick release, it's hard to untrain that. Like the Tim Tebow windup is a nightmare in the NFL. He can throw it from all the different arm angles. You know, if you have it naked and you're on the edge and you have a defensive in your face and you have to adjust where you throw it. Plus in the pocket, you see it on Hard Knocks with Aaron Rodgers all the time. They really do a good job of featuring the different arm angles and why that's important in the game. But the biggest thing for me is as accuracy. I mean, he makes some tight window throws. And then the other hard thing to teach nowadays, I feel like, is anticipation. It just takes tons and tons of reps, and you hope like heck you can get a quarterback to learn that. But I felt like as an 18-year-old, he's out there, he pulled the trigger, making tight window, accurate throws, check. But then the ability to anticipate as an 18-year-old was so rare in my opinion. And then at the end of the day, I think you're judged by wins and losses as a quarterback, right? And I felt like he moved the chains. Yeah. There was a difference whenever he was in the game. It's hard to really put your finger on why that is or what that is at times, but he checks a lot of boxes.
I know that you were at the open practice, and I'm sure you saw the connection he had with Evan. He had several. Like there was some chemistry. Talk to me a little bit about that. When you know you got a guy or two, in an A&M's case, they got more than two, that you can build that kind of confidence and go put the ball in a certain spot.
For sure. I unfortunately, I didn't get to watch as closely because I was playing cover 2.
He had his kids there.
But everything I saw, it looks like he's come a long ways.
Yeah.
I think just from what I saw last year and, in practice for, an hour that I was there, he's going to be special. Now, I think he's still, you turn on the game lights, it could change, but and he's got to prove himself. Can he go out there and win for us ultimately? But kind of like what McGee was saying, I think he's got all the mechanics. I love his toughness. I think, he proved that how tough of a player he is when he took that hit to the teeth last year was that LSU game, and just kept getting up. And so I know he's a leader, and he's hungry, and I know he's been working hard at it. So I think he's going to be a special player for us.
Ryan, let's keep it with you. This is kind of a broad question, but what do you want to see from the offense, and how does that look? Because I know we want to see points.
I was going to say I want to see us score.
Yeah.
I want to see us in the red zone. I'm tired of watching us kick field goals. You march down there and you settle for a field goal. I know that was always kind of disappointing. It was a loss for the offense. I mean, you get points, yeah, that's great, but you're right there. Let's convert. Let's get in the red zone. Let's go score. Let's stretch the field. Let's hit that big home run down the sideline. That's one thing we didn't see a whole lot. I'd give that receiver room, an A minus, A plus. I mean, they've got so many weapons on the field. Let's let these guys go play and stretch the field, and let's take our shots. Let's vertically. I'd like to see a lot more of that.
I want to see points. I want to see creativity. I just want to see a different flow.
Yeah, well, flow, tempo.
Flow? You're going to freestyle?
Yeah. You ready? Yeah, I mean, it felt like at times last year that we were slow. We were fighting the play clock, and we got delay of games. It felt like every week. Just want to see an offense play downhill as opposed to playing uphill.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So last couple years, that first game, the game at the half, right? Kent State was a little closer than I wanted. It was a game. It was a score, right? Sam Houston, a little closer than I wanted almost at halftime. Will the halftime score mean anything to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So if they score 28-ish points, we're on the right trajectory. If it's 17-10, then what?
You're talking about they as in us?
We're up. Yeah, I think there's not a scenario where we're down in my mind. But
okay, I'm just making sure. No, I mean, I think this is the Lobos of New Mexico, and Texas A&M.
Right.
I mean, I think that we got to come out, and I hope that we've got 30-plus points on the board in the first half.
That's how I feel, yeah.
I mean, and with all the weapons on the field and the talent that we have on this offense, there's no reason why we shouldn't.
Yeah. I think another big thing is turnovers. And then on defense, if you give up huge plays, that would be the concern, the red flag. So if you're getting sloppy penalties and then turnovers in the first half, even if you have a lead, I think it's discouraging offensively and defensively. If you're giving up big plays, chunk yards to a New Mexico offense, then that's discouraging.
Yeah, and I think our defense, we've been so reliable on them the last 5 years. I mean, we've got to keep them off the field.
Sure.
And that's we've got to have those long 10, 12, 14-play drives where we can wear these teams down. And it's important because you don't want your defense on the field. You get tired and you start getting injured, and it's not good.
Yeah.
So we got to keep that defense off the field.
The way I look at the halftime score and the score overall, it doesn't say anything, but it says everything. And what I mean by that, I want to send a message to college football that people will be like, it's New Mexico, who cares? But I want to send a message. We know what we messed up on last year, and we're coming for blood this year. And as Anaya Smith said, we're killing our opponents, right?
I saw that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do too.
Hey, I saw that quote. He
speaks our language, right?
Yeah, Wolverine, baby.
So 3 things you want to see from the receivers.
I want to see less drops. I thought, one thing, we dropped the ball too much in big-time situations. I want to see Mr. 3rd and 5, 3rd and short. I want to see that guy emerge. Who is that? Who are we going to, when it's 3rd down? Who are we going to feed the ball? I think it's going to be Anais, but you could also say Moose Muhammad's going to be, pretty valuable in those situations as well. But somebody that we can depend on those 3rd and short. And then I just want to see us make those big time plays down the field.
Yeah.
Stretch the field vertically, and I want to take shots.
Back to your point about not leaving the defense out there too much. I kind of want to see both. I want to see some quick strikes early, and then suffocate them late. So you got
For sure.
Yeah, you know.
No, I'm fine with a 4-play drive that ends in a touchdown. You know, as long as we have 4 or 5 of those a game, hey, we're doing our job. But man, last couple of years, I mean, we're leaning on our defense for points.
Yeah.
You know, Arkansas game last year, we should be scoring 40 points a game.
I 100% agree.
So,
Stephen, 3 things you want to see from Connor.
Oh, from Connor, I mean, play fast, be decisive, which I think he does a great job of. Protect the football. You can't turn it over and be successful. And then just lead the team well. I think that you can tell when a quarterback is in command of what's going on out there. He's commanding all 11 guys, getting them lined up. You're not getting silly penalties. You can tell. You can just feel that. I think that's what I would want to see out of Connor. There's going to be ups and downs. You have young guys getting in there, and you just got to handle all that. You got to handle all the crowd, the hype. There's a lot of pressure on him, obviously, but that comes with the position.
I've maintained that. Look, I haven't liked the offense. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But if the offensive line is better, the offense looks better. Like, and that's an obvious statement, but like, they were so poor the last couple of years, especially early parts. When they were good, look at what happened against LSU, right? And the Bama game, they had a chance to win at the end. To me, it really boils down to the offensive line.
yeah. How are we? I don't know. Are we pretty good offensive?
I think we're going to be pretty
line?
good. I mean,
Okay.
Bryce Foster was hurt, so
Yeah.
that once he goes down, that changes the whole, and Ruben's coming off of an injury, but hopefully he's good to go. You've got some freshmen that are, Chase Masantas is looking great, but you've got Layden Robinson coming out for another year. I just want to see the same group out there for a long stretch.
That's a question mark. I think that they have to
Big time.
But I think the flip side of that coin is that you got to feed your best players the football. You got to commit to that. You got to commit to running the football even when it's not there. Like we did against LSU, we committed to giving our best football player the ball. How many times? 35 times?
Yeah.
Did H.N. carry the football? Look at the difference on that game that he had. You can't give up on it early just because it's not there. You got to continue to pound the football. Also, I'm curious to see what happens at tight end. I know a lot of people aren't talking about that. We've had a difference maker there when we've had some good offenses in this system. And so, is that going to be a big part of Petrino's system? I don't know. It seems like if you want to run the football, you're probably going to have tight ends involved, but you got to have a tight end that can make some mismatches happen against a linebacker in the pass game. There's some big opportunities for explosives there. Do we have one of those young guys emerge this year, losing our starter? So that's another position
I think Jake Johnson can be that guy. I just need to see it, but I think he can. He's got the size, he's got the speed. He was the top tight end in the last class. So, and he's healthy.
I think that's what everybody said, right? Coming out of it. And then I think the question there is for a young guy like that, it's more of a pass catcher. Is he going to be a liability in the protection, or in the blocking game, right? So that's always the flip side of the coin. Is if you got a guy that can really stretch the field athletically, but he can't block, he's a liability. It's you got to have a guy who can do it all.
Which is why it's important for, I think Max Wright being healthy and a guy who can kind of do a little bit of both. He's not a game breaker catching, but he can catch and make some big plays for you.
Yeah, he's super dependable. But the downside there is that you say, well, when he's in the game, they're going to do these things.
Right. So that's why he's got to keep him honest, right? He's got to make some plays. All right, so we'll start with you, Swope. Best teams you were on, were there some common denominators that you could see early, okay, this is cooking, I see why. And then I guess the flip side, some of the poor teams, what did you notice?
Focus. You could tell when you had a really good team, that entire locker room was extremely focused, which is important. And I think that what you have pretty early, and you can sense that locker room, that feel that these guys, are locked in, ready and focused and ready to go. Right. And so, and really you get a good sense of that going in, prior to even camp. How focused is that team leading up to camp in the summer? Is everybody showing up for workouts, everybody getting treatment, all that stuff. And, it just gives you a boost of energy going into the season. But I think focus is important. And, throughout four quarters of football, being able to focus on the game situation, the down and distance, what coverage are they playing, being able to focus on every situation is extremely important. So,
Steven, same thing for you. What intangibles could you notice on the good teams?
Well, I didn't play on any, but
Okay,
from the teams that we played against, I mean they were just machines, man. Like the consistency of doing the little things every day. Like great athletes, great football teams. They do the common things extraordinarily well. So they, it's every day at practice, whether they're hurt, whether they feel great, it doesn't matter. Rain, snow, sleep, whatever. They go out there and get it done. They make the layups. It's not just about the explosive plays that we hammer on the news or the whatever. It's the ordinary 5-yard catch, and they just make those plays happen every stinking time. It's the Jason Witten effect.
Yeah.
The 9-4 season, was there something different, or the just breaks went your way?
We definitely had some breaks go our way, which happens in any year. We won some that we could have very easily lost that year, and then we lost some that we very easily could have won. I mean, that's how it goes. We talked about that earlier, but it's definitely got to get some bounces. You got to keep certain guys healthy, and that can be just the flip of a coin. But good teams are able to overcome those crises that happen throughout the year, and I think Gary Kubiak used to tell his teams all the time in Houston that you're going to have to overcome 3 of those. And we don't know what those are to start the year, but you could lose your starting quarterback. You could have a really key player like Ryan Swope go down. You have to be able to other people step up and overcome that, whatever that controversy is.
I'm glad you said that. Obviously, Haynes did not play out to be the quarterback that we thought he would be. But this team, the last couple of years, loses their starting quarterback in week 2 in 2021. They benched their starting quarterback after week 2 last year, and then Max takes over, and then he gets injured. I mean, the health of the quarterback position is so key.
And then Anias went down, too.
And Anias went down, yeah. And I feel like maybe, and I don't know, but maybe if Haynes doesn't go down that early against Colorado, the confidence when he came back, because he never seemed like a very confident runner after that. Last year, I don't feel like he had a lot of confidence in his ability to get out.
He looked like he was second-guessing himself at times when he got outside the pocket of whether he was still looking to find someone to throw to or take the ball and run. I don't feel like I get that same sense from Connor. I feel like he was very decisive throughout the year.
Yeah. So we do this thing with Ryan. I want you to join us. It's called Getting It Done. We pick somebody who's going to get it done, and we pick somebody who's not going to get it done. And then when we have some games, who's going to get it done? So or who didn't get it done, I should say. So we'll start off with this weekend, and A&M could be your focus. You can pick whatever. Who's going to get it done?
Ooh. Anias Smith.
Anias Smith going to get it done. His game back. All right.
Oh, yeah. I think Anias is going to have a big day.
Couple touchdowns.
I don't know, 8 catches, 120 yards, 2 TDs.
Okay. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Steven?
I would love to see this defensive line get it done.
Yes.
It's hard to have a good defense without a really, really good D line. I'm curious to see, is it Fadil Diggs? Who takes the charge at defensive end that can consistently get after the quarterback?
100%. Who's not going to get it done? Remember, it doesn't have to be an Aggie. It can be anywhere in college football.
I'll let you.
Justin Thomas in the Ryder Cup. Did you see that pick?
Yeah.
That's not getting it done.
That was hey, you cannot leave Justin Thomas at home, man.
Really? You're going JT?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
you can't leave that guy. He's 15-4. You can't.
Maybe that was a bad take.
No, that
Got you out of it. Are you guys?
I like that. I like JT. That was good. I could see it. Who would you take?
Man,
Lucas Glover.
He had a great year.
He did.
Did Keegan
Keegan,
got left at home?
Yeah, he kind of got screwed. Those two, and then Finau maybe got screwed, but
yeah.
anyways.
Oh, Bryson. He shot a
DeChambeau.
58.
I did see that.
That is filthy.
Yeah, those guys don't want him in the locker room.
That's true.
Here's one. Does Bama get it done this year with their questions at quarterback?
No. Not to Bama's level.
Nah,
Well, what's getting it done?
To me, getting back into the playoffs.
Oh, the Final Four?
Yeah.
Are you taking them?
I'll take Bama every year, man.
Even though they have questions at QB.
Yeah, they can run the football.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'll take Bama. They're just too good year in, year out. Defensively,
quarterback-
they're coached well. I mean,
That quarterback was brutal against us. That was the worst Alabama quarterback I've ever seen them trot out in a football game.
That's true.
Since what was the last coach before Saban? Mike
Shula.
Shula, yeah. Like it was like that era quarterback play.
Yeah.
Do you remember that game? It was like
Mike Sheila?
no.
Jalen Milroe was.
Yeah.
he
No.
had-
You talking about last year?
Yeah, he had the 4 turnovers. and-
Athletic kid, but
Yeah.
tough, man.
We should have won.
But typical Alabama, that kid's going to come back and win the Heisman. this
Yeah,
year.
of course.
Yeah.
That's how. All right,
That's how it
so
works.
and I got to. I guess I'm going somewhere with this. Does LSU get it done this year?
Oh,
Ooh.
God,
I don't know.
not.
Florida State. I don't think LSU.
Florida State's favored, right?
Yeah, I'll take. I think Florida State's going to be pretty good.
Okay.
So, who doesn't get it done? I'm going to go LSU.
Yeah, I love that. I hope
Well,
it happens.
The reason I bring it all up, guys, is because the West is kind of open, guys. It's like
Oh, yeah.
there's questions. I mean, there's questions for all the teams, every one.
It starts at the quarterback position. There's question marks at quarterback across the SEC.
Yeah.
And that leaves the door open. Now, granted, somebody's going to step up and fill that void. There's going to be a Heisman candidate from the SEC. You can take it to the bank. Whoever emerges is going to be the Heisman. Someone's going to have a quarterback.
Like,
that's
are you
gonna
guys
be-
sold on KJ Jefferson?
Heck no.
No.
Olin is. I know that's his guy, but
Yeah. Will Rogers without Mike Leach?
Yeah.
just average.
Spencer Rattler at South Carolina. This is in the East. No.
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 The attitude. It's hard for me to root for him, right?
Yeah.
I don't see his team rallying around him.
No.
As
talented.
No, he's talented, but he's not going to get it done.
As good as Georgia is, I haven't seen enough of Carson Beck to know if he can lead them. But they got the talent, you know. They're
Hand the
getting-
ball off.
Right.
Stay out of the way.
Yeah.
They're so good.
They're so good.
Last thing for you guys, I am really interested in seeing Jimbo, like on the sidelines, right? Without the play sheets, how involved he is on timeouts, and like just the ability to be the CEO that we've kind of been envisioning this year.
I hope that happens.
Do you think he has a play sheet?
I don't think he'll have.
Oh, he'll have a play sheet.
I don't think he'll have like
For
Denny's, Luby's, whatever it's called. Like he won that
Like the
California.
BJ's?
Yeah.
No, what's the old school Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah, he's not gonna have that.
They have
The
they have like
huge.
4 languages menu. You can order anything across the globe on that thing. I still think he has the menu.
And he's gonna be involved in the play calling because that's
Yeah.
what head coaches do. Like he's going to.
I'm unbelievably optimistic about this offense under Petrino.
I am too.
Me
can't
too,
wait.
but is
But
he
it's show me
gonna
time.
is he gonna let him do his
I
thing?
think he's going to let him.
You think so?
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe. I don't know.
I do. I think so. I think
if
so.
he does, I think we're gonna be
if
in
he
a good
doesn't,
position.
I think if he doesn't, I'm sorry to cut you off. If he doesn't, I think it's because it's not working. If it's
Yeah.
working, I think he backs off.
Yeah, I think he'll interject himself if he feels like it's. But that's. I mean, let's be honest. If that situation's occurred, that probably means we've already lost a couple games, and it's kind of like,
Well, the other thing that I will say, and I know you probably got to take a break, but just let the quarterback play. I'm tired of seeing him run over
on
to the
game day
sideline
and just
on
get
game
yelled
day,
at.
yelled at, doing this, and this. Just let him play.
I did.
Let him do his thing. That's what practice is for.
Yeah. And from what I've seen, Petrino's been all involved in that part, and Jimbo's kind of taken a step back. Of course, he's going to yell at times, but it's been good. I did a poor job. I should have worn a shirt. Have you guys heard about the Charge apparel? No, I don't think you guys. You might know. I
see it on your TexAgs.
Yeah, I love it. So they're polos made from Aggies, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So the Charge Apparel, Aggie-owned, purpose-driven apparel brand. They're veteran-owned and operated, and they donate 12% of all their total sales to organizations that support U.S. veterans and mental health initiatives. Additionally, all their premier polos and tees are made right here in the United States. So check out the premier fabric that they have, lightweight, slightly tailored fit through the chest and arms, designed to make you look and feel your absolute best. 2 Aggies, class of 2014, they met in the Parsons Mounted Cavalry and the Corps of Cadets. Tucker was a member of E2, Travis Squadron 2. Remember, 12% of those total sales, not just profits, donated to veteran nonprofit partners with a focus on mental health initiatives. Check them out at thechargeapparel.com or find them on Instagram, The Charge Apparel, or Twitter, The Charge Brand. Hey, we're back. Sorry, I just caught myself on TV. Hey, CW8, how you doing, guys? YouTube, what's up? TexAgs.com. And our friends, of course, on the Zone. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. I want to go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, but I did want to say this before we talk to Luke. What a fun segment that was, talking to Steven and Ryan. There's just them together. I had this vision of what I wanted, and they knocked it out the park. It was great. Their chemistry is phenomenal. Luke, we've got some text to get into. I'm actually going to read one that was sent to me from Chase in Houston. He sent me to my phone. Did you guys know, and I'm sure you don't care, maybe Nick will care a little bit, the Houston Cougars are going to be wearing Houston Oiler-inspired light blue jerseys for Saturday's season opener against UTSA. Nick, you weren't even around for the Oilers, right? So you probably don't
No,
care.
that's correct. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I think that their uniform is slick, obviously, but I'm going to look that up. I want to see
It looks
what they
great.
look
I
like.
have it, yeah. Joseph Duarte tweeted it. That's a good-looking uniform. Wow. Very, very nice job. All right, we go to Luke Evangelist there at the News and Social Center.
Yeah, I completely agree. What a great segment. I've got a text from JW.
Is that you're telling me it's not a good segment? Oh, you're talking about Swope and McGee. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about my Oiler talk. Sorry.
No, I love a good Oiler jersey.
Okay.
I'm not even a Houston fan, but I can appreciate greatness when I see it when
Thank
it
you,
comes
sir.
to jerseys. JW said Jimbo's going to roll out with an accordion-style file folder just to troll everybody.
That'd be funny if it was, but that'd be kind of funny. But no, I think he's too focused on winning games and making this a winning season. What else do we have there?
Randall and Salido has a question. Are the Aggies starting a freshman at linebacker? If yes, is this out of desperation or is he that awesome? I don't think it's confirmed.
It's not confirmed that he's starting. So there were some social media reports out there from family members that it looks like he's going to get the start, talking about Torian York. And Jimbo actually did kind of address it. He's going to be out there a lot, I think is how he phrased it. This guy is, I would look at this as a positive. When you have a freshman that just stands out that much and that's why he's out there, they must see something really good. Because you know who you have. Like, I know that the linebacker position last year was not ideal, but I think you feel comfortable with Chris Russell. I think you feel comfortable with Edge Cooper and some of the other names that played quite a bit last year, right? This guy, he's very cerebral, smart. I think you're going to be blown away from what you see there from Torian York when he gets out there. What else?
The YouTube chat is popping. Let's
Okay.
just get that out of the way. I've never seen it this crowded and this many people throwing out ideas and comments. I've got one here that says, if Noah Thomas is as good as advertised, how will we get Noah, Evan Stewart, Moose, and Anais enough reps? Will we run 4 wide receivers or will we finally rotate them?
The way I phrase that is winning cures all. If you're winning, I think people will do less, right? They'll be happy for their teammates. All right, today was Anais' day to get the ball. Today was Moose's day, Evan's day, right? Like, I don't think you're going to have to concentrate on one. Now, look, somebody may emerge as the guy, right? And Evan Stewart could be the guy. But if you're winning games, I don't think it's about the numbers. It's about the offense. And let's look at the amount of catches that Evan had last year and the 600 yards that he had with an offense that didn't move. Guys, I'm envisioning an offense that scores at least 10 to 15 more points a game, right? And one of it is more. So a couple more possessions where you go the length of the field, there might be more yards out there and catches than you think. But I understand the question because you want to keep everybody happy. But win games, and I think everybody's happy. When we come back, Aaron Torres is going to join us here on TexAgs Radio. We'll chit-chat with AT on around college football. But before we do that, let's talk about Caprock Health System. They've got that highly personalized emergency care that if you go to a Caprock hospital, you're going to benefit from a very unique one-on-one experience. So if it's you going through the hard time, if your loved one, just know that they want you to feel 100% better. That is their sole purpose when you go to a Caprock hospital, is to make the patient feel number one. 100% locally owned and operated, putting the patient first in every single decision that they make. And should your stay require you to be there a little bit longer than you want, they're going to manage every element of that visit out there. They have a very low patient to doctor-nurse ratio, which means their medical team gets to know you and your individual needs in those hotel quality rooms. You never have to worry about being in a gross room, guys. These are really nice rooms that when you're there, you're just going to feel better for being in that environment. Of course, you want to get home, and they're going to help you get home as quickly as possible when you go to a Caprock hospital. 2 convenient, state-of-the-art facilities designed for patient healing and family friendliness. You got Caprock Hospital in Bryant and Caprock 24-hour emergency center in College Station. They both have 0 wait time for emergency care, so you'll never have to sit in a crowded waiting room. It is Caprock Hospital in Bryant and Caprock 24-hour emergency center, in College Station. Go check them out. Welcome back. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. All is good in the world because we got some college football this weekend, some A&M football. Let's go around college football presented by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. We go to the hotline. AT with us, Aaron Torres from Aaron Torres Online, Fox Sports Radio. In fact, I think he was doing primetime last night. AT, what up?
Yeah, I was on, what time was I on yesterday? 3 to 5 Eastern time? So I guess it would have been 2 to 4 Central. Hopefully a couple people caught me on their drive home yesterday. But, yeah, man, everything's good. How are you? How are things? You ready? Ready for this week or what?
Buddy, I feel like, and I've said this before, but I feel like this offseason has been so freaking long. And when a team doesn't live up to expectations, all you can do is pontificate and think of like these scenarios and what went wrong, can we do, and it's a longer month because you don't have bowl season, and it's just I'm just ready to actually have games to talk about, man.
Yeah, it's crazy because on the one hand, it feels like it took forever. On the other hand, it was funny. Like I was walking through, I have I live in an apartment complex, but a very nice apartment complex. We have a pool, and I was walking through last night, and I was thinking, like, back in May, June, it's like, man, you got the whole summer. You're going to hit the pool so much. And I think I used it twice, and I was like, well, I'm not using this again for the rest of, until probably May or June of 2023 because, the weekends are going to be busy. But obviously the weekend, it's a really fun time of year, man. Last little fun I'll toss back to you is, like, the last couple Sunday nights and Monday nights, like when there really hasn't been any football on, it's like, man, just give me some game. I don't care how bad the NFL is, how bad the college is. I need something. So it's great to have week 0, and obviously, the next 5 days are going to pretty much be heavy. So,
all right, I'm going to make the first question A&M centric. How ready are you to see this Petrino offense? How ready are you to see the new wrinkles, what it looks like, what Jimbo looks like on the sidelines, what Connor looks like, the whole thing put together against New Mexico?
Oh, I'm really excited, and obviously everybody that listens to my visits with you, I've been a little bit, what's interesting, David, is I think a lot of the national media has kind of come full circle where over the last couple weeks, as the dust is settled, you get away from SEC media days. I have seen a lot of people say, you know what, I think this team has the potential to be better than people are giving them credit for. And so to directly answer your question, I'm excited. And I'm excited because, and I've said this a million times, I'm not an X's and O's guy. But as I've said, as Bobby Petrino has said, his job is to make Jimbo's life easier, Connor Wegman's life easier, and to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. And so I'm not anti-Jimbo like a lot of people in the media, but you watch that offense, and again, me not being an X's and O's guru, it felt complicated. You saw the huge play sheet. You saw, previous quarterbacks kind of looking at the card on their wrist and thinking and overthinking and all that stuff. And I'm excited to see, one, how it all looks, but two, is there a simplicity to it? Because sometimes, in sports, if you're not thinking, you're just reacting and playing. And when you have the caliber of player that A&M has, that's exactly what you want, not only your quarterback, but your skill position guys to be doing as well. So, especially answer your question, it is one of the many, many, many things I'm excited about. And although it's obviously not the most high-profile game, it is one of the things that I'm most eager to see.
Talking to Aaron Torres here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, so what other new scenarios out there are you excited to see? Different coordinator somewhere. Maybe it's Garrett Riley at Clemson. Maybe it's a new head coach. Which kind of new direction for a program do you want to see and how it looks?
There's a million. I mean, one, it's interesting, even tonight, like, it feels like there's been a lot of Graham Mertz revisionist history. So I'm just going to, put all the cards on the table. I think Utah wins even if Cam Rising doesn't play, and it's almost certain that he won't at this point because Graham Mertz is not a good college quarterback. And everybody said all the right things kind of during talking season the last month or so of, maybe he wasn't used right at Wisconsin. It's like, I don't care how you're used. When you turn the ball over as much as he did, especially in big spots, in big road environments, I just don't trust you as a college quarterback. So that's one direction is, Florida's saying all the right things. I'll believe it when I see it. And then from there, I do think it's kind of the obvious one. It's Coach Prime in Colorado. Everybody kind of mocked how he went about doing things. David, this was a team that was in the bottom 5 nationally in scoring offense and scoring defense last year. They were not good at anything and had to do things, had to completely start from scratch. So that's one. The Garrett Riley stuff, I think, speaks for itself. And then, it's not really a direction, but you and I, let me just set the record straight. You and I started this whole Penn State narrative a few weeks ago. I mean, everybody was listening to that segment and said, wow, Torres and Nuño might be onto something. And so and I'm joking, but a lot of people seem to like them as much as we do, but they have a big primetime game on Saturday night. If you are the caliber of team we think you are at home, West Virginia's not very good. Take care of business. So I went in a lot of different directions, but those are just a few of many, many, many that I'm very excited to see this year.
AT, I'm glad you said that because I was having a similar thought this morning. I'm driving in, and I'm hearing somebody talk about how they think Penn State's going to be really good. And there was another school Kentucky, that I've been high on for months, right? And, I feel like either I spoke it into existence or now that I've said it out loud on radio, I'm hearing others, and I'm like, man, that was my original thought. I was the first one to say that. Obviously, I know I wasn't, but it does feel that way sometimes, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then, it's funny because you get crazy with if you have a thought and other people don't say it, first you go through the whole phase of, wow, that guy's an idiot. And then the second one is, wait, maybe I'm missing something. So it'll be interesting, right? And I think it speaks to exactly what you said to lead the segment is we've all created these opinions in our heads for the last 8-9 months. And listen, they come from an educated place. We have people in the industry. We have sources. We have people that we talk to. But, even people inside these buildings, they think they know. But once the lights come on a Saturday or whatever, the narrative sometimes changes. So, yes, I'm with you is that those were two that you and I were both actually very early on. But it'll be interesting to see how all these narratives play out over the next couple of weeks. Florida State's another one. A lot of people, like myself included, how do they look against LSU this weekend? You go on and on down the list. Colorado, well, they have no chance. They have 70 new players. Well, I think they're going to get TCU a game on Saturday. So there's a lot. I mean, isn't it just great to be talking about football? I mean, I can keep saying there's a lot to discuss and a lot to think about, but it's just great to have these actual games and narratives to actually discuss.
Aaron, let's go through some quarterback situations. Kyle McCord at Ohio State. Just your thoughts on he being the guy with all the weapons at wide receiver that he has.
Yeah, it was interesting. There was a Devin Brown push, for a couple of days there, but I kind of know some people there, and they told me all along McCord was kind of in control. And what I said on my show this week, and I think it to be true, is two things. Is one, probably Devin Brown has the higher ceiling, but Kyle McCord has the higher floor. And so I think what they're really doing, and I think this is kind of applicable with Alabama as well, is name the quarterback that isn't going to beat himself and beat you for the first 3 weeks of the season, because Ohio State plays at Indiana this week, Western Kentucky, and Youngstown State, I think. And so, put in the guy that isn't going to beat you. But I think over these next 3 weeks, we see a lot of Devin Brown. And if Devin Brown proves that he can do it on Saturdays when it counts, I wouldn't be stunned to see him starting in week 4 against Notre Dame. So, like I said, I think there's a little bit of the same thing with Alabama, is that, who they start on Saturday against Middle Tennessee, I don't think is reflective of who's going to be the guy, say, when they come to College Station in the middle of October. And so that's what I think is kind of going on with Ohio State. McCord's not going to beat you, but let's go ahead and see what he's got. But then also let's get out to an early lead with those weapons that you mentioned, David, so we can get Devin Brown some meaningful snaps in these early games.
We're talking to Aaron Torres here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, the Alabama situation. It's the one we've talked about the most because there are questions, and those questions have basically been confirmed by Nick Saban, right? So I think it's going to be Jalen Milroe, and I think we may not know the for sure start until after the Texas game. Just how this whole thing has played out for Bama. Your thoughts, AT?
Yeah, no, I think you're right, David. And I will say the quotes, I think it was about a week ago now, really stood out were the ones where he said, these guys got to stop waiting for somebody to hand me this job, for me to hand them the job and go earn it. So that concerned me. But then you also see quotes this week about, I've been harder on these guys, but they're receptive to it and stuff like that. And so I guess what I would say, and maybe this is one where I could look really smart, I can look really dumb, and I will readily acknowledge that. Until I see that, so all offseason, Bama's narrative has been, we're bringing back the physicality, we're bringing back the toughness, we're bringing back the run game. All their offensive linemen, every time they do an interview, we want to be the best offensive line in college football, on and on and on and on and on. And maybe it's just my brain being warped by Alabama, whatever, for the past 10, 12 years. But I believe them. And so until I see that they're the same team that can't run the football, the same team that gives up way too many big plays on defense, then I'm not going to necessarily worry about the quarterback situation. Now, at some point, you're obviously going to have a quarterback that is able to make plays through the air to beat the teams that you want to beat to get to where you want to go. But I do believe Jalen Milroe is going to be the starter. But I've just seen so many quotes out of Alabama these past few weeks about bringing back the physicality, bringing back the toughness. The guys along the offensive line believe that they are doing it. That, again, I'm just not going to worry until I have actual cause for concern on a Saturday.
All right, last thing for you. Do you, and I know the answer is not 100% yes, but maybe 90% yes. Do you pick the SEC pretty much every time? Are you leaning, I think you already said what you were doing with the Florida-Utah game. I think you're leaning Utah on that one. What about North Carolina, South Carolina, LSU, FSU?
So I am not necessarily leaning the SEC and all that. I will say South Carolina, North Carolina. I'm actually, I'm not even a Shane Beamer guy. I think he's a little much, but I do like South Carolina there. I'm actually kind of surprised. I think it's a Drake May kind of narrative game. But I'll tell you, from the Florida State LSU perspective, this is my bold take for week one. Florida State wins, and it's not particularly close in terms of a final score. Now, it may be close for times in the game, but the final score is double digits. And I just think it's not that I'm anti-LSU. It's just that I think the matchups really favor Florida State. Great run game going up against an LSU defense that Texas A&M fans know better than anybody, struggled at times to stop the run last year. Questions in the secondary. Again, Texas A&M fans know Denver Harris, what's going on there. Florida State has a monster receiver room. All their guys are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", et cetera. So to answer your question directly, I do like Utah tonight. I do like South Carolina on Saturday night. And then the big one Sunday, I really do like Florida State. I don't think it means necessarily that they're definitively going to win the ACC, that they're the best team in college football, anything like that. Just think that it's a very good matchup for Florida State. And now the fun part, we get to see if I look like an idiot or if I actually look like I know what I'm talking about, come a couple hours from now.
I really need to let you go, but can you answer a question in 45 seconds? Why do you think Colorado can keep it close?
Yeah. TCU, first of all, their defense wasn't good last year. And look, Shedeur was offered by Alabama coming out of high school. He's a baller. TCU lost a Heisman Trophy finalist at quarterback, their best running back, their best wide receiver. Their defense was terrible. And they won a million close games. We all watched those games. We all watched the Baylor walk-off game, the college football playoff game. They won, but it was kind of a fluke against Michigan. They won like 5 games by 6 points or less last year, some crazy stat like that. I just think they're in for a major regression. I think Shedeur is going to put up big stats, and I think we get like a 42-32 kind of final score in that game.
That is Aaron Torres. Aaron Torres Online, Fox Sports Radio, Around College Football, brought to you by Milliken Reserve. AT, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Enjoy the games, everybody.
Later, buddy. AT on the hotline. Hey, let's talk Heritage Films before we hit a break. That's Chance McClain's company. The website is yourheritagefilm.com. Why do you want a documentary? Why wouldn't you want a documentary? Why not honor your dad, your mom, your grandpa? Like, it's a cool thing to do. And I think not only watching it, so there's 2 parts to this. One day, let's say you do it on somebody real special in your family. One day that person may not be there, right? And you're gonna be able to watch that with family members that maybe didn't know him or know her, or family members that knew him for a brief time, and be able to honor that person with them not here. That's one way of looking at it. The other thing is doing it together, right? My dad's 93, and we got to watch this film together with my 4 kids, my brother and his kids as well. We got to do it together and watch it with my dad, his escape from Cuba, building the family here in the United States, and being a very proud American, all the good things that my dad has done. So that's Heritage Films. They've also got the Year Flicks, which is an awesome deal where you take the youngers, right, the 12-year-olds, the 13-year-olds, and it's like a benchmark video where you get to learn a little bit about them in this question and answer form, 20-minute video. The Heritage Film, about 2 hours. The Year Flicks, about 15 to 20 minutes, right? And it moves fast, and it tells a story, and it's a benchmark video that you can compare in a couple years. The website is yourheritagefilm.com. The phone number, 713-893-8341. 713-893-8341. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm going to read this real quick before we go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. My voice today, not so good. Mr. Cheeks, any chance I could buy that same polo you've got, David? I want to look handsome on Saturday in 100-degree heat. This was a special order, but I think it's very possible that we start we do some more polos. I know that we have a partnership with CC's Creations in the warehouse that you can buy some A&M gear. So I don't know what they have there at the moment. I know I got a couple of cool shirts the other day.
Yeah, I was just over there not too long ago, and they got some cool script TexAgs T-shirts, both men's and women's. They got that fishing shirt that OB wears. It's a good look. Got some hats over there, too, that I don't even have, so I need to run over there.
Yeah. Let's try to get a quick text in from Luke there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
Yeah, real quick, I want to bring up something on the YouTube chat. I believe Tyler said it. He talked about bringing back the white helmet for like the all-white road look, and I am all in favor of that. I would love to see it.
Like a ninja.
Yeah, like
really.
from the Bama game.
I love it. Yeah, good idea out there. All right, when we come back, you want real analysis? You want guys that eat and breathe football and study it for at least 2 minutes before they come in studio? That's the Fan Show. Those guys have prepped for at least 7 minutes. Nah, 5. That's coming up next here on TexAgs Radio. I love these guys. I really do. I can't wait till the segment's over, but I love them with a lot of love. It is now time for the Fan Show.
Fan Show.
Brought to you by
Gerard Construction.
Thank you. I don't have my copy in front of me. I think that they are a custom home builder.
For the Brazos Valley since 2002.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
And this part I do know. You don't just build homes.
We build relationships.
Yeah, and you can learn more where?
At gerard-construction.com.
All right, Kelly Adams is there. Blake Shelton is there. Matt Browning is there. Hi, friends. What's up?
Hey, bud.
Guys.
You said something that got me, I've been excited all week, but then I get re-energized when people remind me what's going on this
It's
week.
game week.
Yeah.
It's game week. It's time. It's all we get to finally stop talking and start watching, which is going to be a blast.
That's right.
I mean, Saturday morning, get up early, get everything ready, watch football all day, go to the stadium, get ready for the game. It's time. It is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it, and every year, same thing. I get it every year, but this one seems a little different, and this one there's some. I don't know. There's a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And the closer I get, like I've always said, the closer I get to the season, the hope builds.
Yeah.
And there's
If
lots.
you don't
and
have a
lots of
lot of hope today, then there is no hope for you, because we're 12-0 right now. We're going 12-0.
Yeah.
So I'm about to ask you guys what's on your mind, but I just got a question. If we did a battle royale right now, right, between you three, who comes out the winner?
Like physically?
Yeah,
Like
physical.
a physical fist
Yeah,
fight?
I have a reason for it.
Blake?
Is it just the three of us, or is Mr. MMA in there?
He's Mr. MMA. It's not me.
You're MMA
Yeah.
too? No, he wins.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was MMA.
Well,
guy.
He's like there every day.
that I'm pretty sure Kelly
And he
I'd-
coaches.
Kelly and I'd get winded quicker than he would.
He-
so.
I mean, I'm pretty dang mean, but
I'm going to tell you right now, he'd destroy you both in 9 seconds. So we'll start off with
Probably
you,
true.
Blake
Oh
Chilton.
my gosh.
What is on your mind?
Well, like Matt said, it is game week. I think for me, and I'm really trying to temper myself on the Torian York situation, right?
You did ask me about that the other
I
day.
did ask you about it. I'm thinking about it. I'm starting to believe a little bit of the maroon Kool-Aid, if you will. The maroon Kool-Aid club's like, oh man, this is going to be great. He's the second coming of Dat Win, and so I don't know. That's what's on my mind. Like I'm looking at every other position. I'm checking. I'm like, quarterback, Wigman's going to be great. Running back, we have a stable. Offensive line, second year. Like all these things I'm checking off, but I'm just going that linebacker. I'm a little
It's
concerned.
the second linebacker next to Cooper.
Yeah, second linebacker, just that linebacker, that position.
So would you have felt more comfortable had it been a name you already knew?
Maybe Chris Russell, just because I'm going, he's been in the program. He's had some flashes.
He's been solid.
Yeah,
I-
he's a veteran.
I don't think this is a slight at Chris at all. I think it depends how many linebackers they play with, obviously. But in the scenario we're talking about right now, I think that's what excites me.
Yeah.
It's because we know what you get from Chris, and he's been really good.
Mm-hmm.
Torian's been really good, right? And that should be the exciting part of it.
I like the idea because last year we went into the season, we played a ton of true freshmen. This year, it sounds like we might only a couple of them might actually have to play, be forced to play. And I don't even know if we're saying he's being forced to play. I'm just thinking he might just be so good coming in as a true freshman that he's going to get a lot of playing time. So that's awesome.
I will say I've seen Torian York play in high school. Brian and Temple play every year.
Yeah.
And I'm a Brian guy. And he's a football playing dude. Like, I remember watching in high school going, I don't know where that kid's going, but that kid can play football. I don't know his size, his measurements, his weights, his speeds. I don't know any of that, but he can play football. And, he ended up at A&M, which I was excited about. And now he may be playing football his way to a starting spot, which if he did, he earned it by playing good, solid football. And if he's got all the measurements and everything they're looking for, and he's got the brains, and he's a football playing dude. And if he's got it, he's earned it.
It'd be great if he's better than Anthony Hill.
Oh,
he is a career better than Anthony Hill.
And
that would be
Perkins.
awesome. Yeah.
And Perkins.
Well, and he obviously can play, and he's smart, and he's the kind of kid you want to root for. I mean, his story is just awesome.
Yeah.
Like, high character kid, so I love that.
Kelly, what is on your mind?
Well, there is a dark cloud over the Adams household today. For the second day since early April, the Rangers are not in first place.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, technically.
Who's in first place?
It's a tie between the Astros and the Mariners.
Huh, interesting. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Sad, but we deal with it in our house. Winning and losing happens. So hopefully the Rangers can get their stuff in a pile and play a little better.
You got to give Kelly some credit. He's all year long, he's been coming in bragging about them being in first place. Today, he could have been quiet about it.
Nope.
But he's owning it.
I think
The truth-
knew
the
Chase
truth.
was sending a text in a moment.
And that's okay. The truth is the truth. The truth is the Rangers have played terrible. The Astros have played slightly better, and the Mariners have been freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So that's the truth. And if either the Astros or the Rangers turn it around, they should take the Mariners. But what's more important than all of that? Is, Matt, like you said before we started, it's game week.
It is.
We're playing football on Saturday. I love the Rangers, but we're playing football on Saturday.
Football in the BCS. Matt Browning. Did you already give me what's on your mind? You did.
I mean,
right?
I've got tons of things.
Okay.
Hey, speaking of Chase, what is up with your boy Dana Olgerson?
Oh, you got a problem with that?
Calling out A&M and Texas? I don't really have
Texas,
a
I
problem
kind of understand.
with it. Yeah, Texas makes sense because.
But why us? What do we ever do to that guy?
And why not Baylor?
It's
Yeah,
the lack of.
another
It's
one.
the lack of. I think in Dana's case, he seems like a nice enough guy. I don't have any
he's a great
issues with
dude. I
Dana
love
Holgerson himself.
I love him.
But it's the lack of knowing your history and knowing what actually happened with the Southwest Conference when everything. I mean, I hate to say this, Houston just didn't move the needle enough to be into the Big 12. All right, the other teams did, and we left 10 years ago, so we knew that it was a giant flaming pile of
I think his point was more about A&M and Texas not wanting U of H ever to join the Big 12, like even after.
I mean, who says
There-
A&M
I've-
had any say in that
I've
at
heard
all?
national media people say that they don't know why the Big 12 took Houston. They don't move the needle. The University of Texas already gave them Houston. The state of Texas, Houston. Everybody's watching the Big 12. They don't need the University of Houston to pull that market.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, I didn't quite understand it. But what's on my mind is, like I said, it's game week. It's big time. I mean, the New Mexico fans are all over town. That's a joke. I haven't seen a single one yet.
They're not even there.
Yeah, I don't know if they
I was
exist.
like, I've been
but
driving around.
Wolves are out. They're like, I'm not in on this.
Where are you eating lunch this week?
So, but it's fun watching all the talking heads across the country talk about every team, including us, and it's just football time. And I mean, this is it's like Christmas. It's like Saturday's Christmas morning, and we're almost there. You know what I mean? So.
All right, so we're going to talk Connor now for a minute. And Chase did text the show. He just wanted
That's
to
fine.
ask, is
I
third
don't blame
place
him.
on your mind?
I don't blame him.
But I'll start off with you here, Kelly. We knew it was coming, but now it's official. Wiggy. Get wiggy with it for me.
I'm not responding to the last step.
You know what that means?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm too old for that. With that being said, I'm excited that Connor's the quarterback. I think he gives us a little different element of mobility and some things. Not that Johnson's bad. Johnson's great. But I think Connor adds a little bit to the plate. Ultimately, what you're looking for is the guy that's going to lead the team. And if that's Connor, I'm not in practices. But if that's Connor, then that's the guy we need. And I'm behind him 100%. I thought it would be Connor. Everything I've ever heard about him outside of football, is that he's the kind of guy that would lead the entire team at a young age.
Yep.
And it appears that he's doing that. So I'm super excited with what he brings to us on the field as well as what he brings in the locker room and off the field and leadership and just kind of the kind of kid you want representing your school.
Blake?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think he won the job last year, the end of the year. I think he threw 8 touchdowns, 0 picks as a true freshman, and getting thrown into some really tough environments and situations. But his ability to showcase at the end at that LSU game, I think he won it there. Not a knock on Johnson. I think Johnson competed. I think Johnson pushes him, and I'm glad Johnson's there because if history shows, like, we're going to need more than one quarterback to endure the season. And so I have no problem if Johnson gets thrown into a game for whatever reason. So I think that'll be good. And so I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think he's the future of the program. I know Olin's already pumping his Heisman campaign,
Let's get him there.
We'll see.
He actually, Olin gets a vote. So
Yeah, he does.
what he says
Well,
matters.
but by the way, if this team does get to 10 wins, he's in the conversation, right?
Mhm.
he has to be.
Right? So
And speaking of Max Johnson, first of all, kudos to the kid for battling all camp, all that. I love the fact that he's here because again, when outside, I think Johnny 2012 was the last time we had a quarterback make it all the way through a season without an injury, without having to bring somebody else in, all that. And so having a seasoned guy back there that can come in if need be is huge. But Connor is just a different guy. Connor is that guy that the kind of guy that is just he's just different. He basically he brings way more to the table than these field general type. He brings everything. He has every intangible. I mean, especially from being a 5-star, being the number 1 quarterback in the entire country coming out of high school. We saw his highlights in high school. Then to get on the field in a very difficult year last year, an injury-riddled team playing in games with COVID issues and all sorts of different stuff, and to come out and play as well as he did against Ole Miss and against LSU, those are his 2 best games. And to do that as a true freshman is huge. And I think he's the guy that we've been waiting for since Johnny.
let's keep it right here. What's the biggest thing you've enjoyed or liked about the offseason? What is something that from this offseason you take away like, all right, we're going the right place?
I think honestly, the confirmation that it's not that the offense is all on Jimbo anymore.
Right.
I mean, again, my issue wasn't with. I know everybody had their issues with things different, but mine was Jimbo was always. It seemed like he was, and Billy. This was one of Billy's points that he brought up is that Jimbo was so focused on offense that he would miss certain timeouts,
Sure.
and not paying attention to other aspects of the game that they needed him to because he's over here yelling at a quarterback. As opposed to, all right, hey, time, managing the clock and all those types of things. So I just like the fact that that's not on his plate 100% anymore, and that he can focus on being a head coach now. And I really do. If that frees him up to use what Jimbo's good at what he does. I mean, no one can deny that Jimbo is a good coach. He's just got to all the things that he's good at. He can now try to focus on those and try to get better at the things that were weaknesses because he doesn't have to carry the offense as well.
Kelly, biggest thing from the offseason you take away, the good thing.
When Petrino said he was calling the plays in practice, I think that's, like you were saying, Jimbo's passed it over. Because in Jimbo, I thought Petrino was calling plays the whole time anyway. But at SEC Media Days, Fisher was kind of like, yeah, it's a collaborative effort. We're all working together.
Which it is, by the way.
It is. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. But then when Petrino had his press conference, he's like, Petrino says, yeah, it's a collaborative effort, and I'm calling the plays. This is kind of the summary of what he said. I think that's the best news we've had. For the same reason. It's not that Jimbo can't call plays. It's not that Jimbo's dumb or suddenly got stupid or whatever. He's got to have his mind on a few other things too.
And did I hear this right, that he's calling plays from the booth up top?
I believe the last time we heard it wasn't decided, but it was
yeah.
leaning towards that direction.
Yeah, I heard he was doing that. I think they asked him in that press conference.
They did.
Will you be on the floor? On the ground?
He indicated that he hadn't decided, but he was leaning upstairs.
If I trust my quarterback and trust, then I'll go upstairs. Right. And then I heard the next scrimmage, he's upstairs. I'm like, that's great news.
Yeah.
That's great news. So
I think it's easier to call plays from up there.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I think it is.
So is that your takeaway as well? Is just the offense, or is it more?
You know what I like, and this is so subtle, but I like Jimbo's attitude right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going after people. He's not attacking people. He's not being defensive. There's like a calm confidence that Jimbo has right now, and I think other coaches in the SEC are going, that's interesting. That
Seems relaxed.
Yeah, he seems relaxed but confident. Like, we'll see what happens.
Let's hope that continues throughout the year. All right. So, Blake, we'll keep it with you. Biggest question you still have?
I mean, I think I've got to go back to that linebacker core.
Okay.
That's still just a true freshman starting in the SEC. And I know Perkins did it. I know, right? He had a great year last year at LSU,
Until he played us.
Until he played us. That's what I was about to say. That's just a tough position to play as a true freshman. So that'd probably be my only big question mark. And is our offensive line set? Are we ready? I feel like we've got some more depth this year, which is great. We're not going to just throw a true freshman starting center out there like we did last year. But I want to see that gel happen with that offensive line.
Kelly?
I agree with you on the offensive line. There's a lot of moving parts still. I'd wish it was a little more concrete. But they can all play, so let's go out and do that. But I think the tight end position, it just got interesting recently with Green going out with his surgery. All the guys are good. All the guys are play. All the guys are highly recruited guys. But, we just lost our best guy, or who was supposed to be our best guy. So there's a question mark there as far as, are we still going to use 2 tight ends a lot? What are we going to do with the new play caller and tight end? To me, there's a lot of question at the tight end spot right now. And we'll find out Saturday.
Mateo?
My question is, what's been our 2 best seasons since we've been in the SEC? 2012, 2020. I think most people would agree. And what did those things have in common?
Offensive
line.
Yeah.
I think offensive line in all levels of football is the most important thing. I mean, if you can open up lanes for the running backs and you can protect your quarterback, then your team is going to be pretty good. If you have a good offensive line, you're going to have a good team. If you have a bad offensive line, you're usually going to have a bad team. So offensive line is the key to everything, in my opinion.
I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm just going to say the trenches, right? Like, and it's Captain Obvious here, but can you block? Can you stop the run?
Mm-hmm.
You do those two, and there's no reason to believe that this team can't.
Mm-hmm.
You've got depth at both positions.
Lots of talent.
You've got 5 and 4 stars all over the place. You've got size, and it feels like you've got health. So why not?
Yeah, I mean the deep, and the reason I don't bring up defensive line is because they're just so incredibly insanely
getting Mount McKinley
talented.
back is good.
Yeah, having that defensive line with the guys that are on it and the talent that's literally everywhere. I mean, across the board, there's 5 stars. I mean, how many 5 stars are on that defensive line? 5, 6, 7, something like that. Some crazy number. And then the 4-star guys are pretty amazing too. But I mean, they're all over that defensive line, and so that coupled with another year for Edge Cooper, and I mean these guys, Cooper and Russell, and maybe Terry and York coming in, stopping the run should be a whole lot better this year.
Here's another one that's just a duh, but like, how many you guys have all have jobs, right? Year 1, maybe you're okay at your gig. How is it year 2? Like
Always better.
always, right?
Yeah.
When you started doing MMA, Blake, your first month, you probably thought you were a train wreck. I still think I'm a train wreck, right?
Yeah.
But after how long you been doing it now?
I'm just a smaller train wreck, like a less collateral damage now.
But you've been doing it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Easier, right?
Yeah.
Things come more fluid. Same thing for this defensive line. Same thing for the offensive line. That's what
And
I'm
the defense as a
expecting.
whole,
Yeah.
with the second year of Durkin, the defense as a whole
Yeah.
is going to look better.
All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with some more. I got some interesting questions to get into. But right now, caller number 1, we're going to give you a free car wash from Aggie Land Express Car Wash in South College Station off of William D. Fitch and Greens Prairie. Aggie owned and operated with the friendliest staff and a personal touch. They offer a monthly membership. We'll give the first caller a free car wash right now from Aggie Land Express in South College Station. 979-693-1150. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Fan Show presented by Gerard Construction here. Gentlemen, I want to kind of get into expectations for the weekend, all right? We actually started the show off with this idea, but, like, what do you really want to see this weekend? New Mexico, inferior opponent. Sorry. They're not App State, guys, okay? They're not. Although
I
don't know.
called App State a little bit. I said I was scared of them last year.
But you're scared of everybody.
No, not New Mexico.
Are you scared? Okay. Oh, good to hear.
New Mexico.
So, all right, I'll let you start it off, Kelly.
Okay. What do I want to see?
What do you want to see? Do you want? I'll tell you real quick. I want to see 30 points in the first half. That's what I want to see. I think we all want to see it, but I think it's doable and possible, and it sends a message. But let's try to keep it on the realistic side. What do you realistically want to see?
I want to see us put up 50 points, and I want to see us hold them to one score. That could be a touchdown or one field goal. I'm not going to get picky on that. But I want to see the offense and the defense dominate a team that was 2-10 and they're traditionally 2-10. I want to see us absolutely dominate on both sides of the ball.
Okay.
And we'll do that early. I'm not going to say I need 30 in the first half or anything, but we're not going to score 50 unless we have 30 in the first half.
I want to preface this because I'm going to follow up with what do you expect to see in a moment. So what do you want to see versus expect?
You want me to go and tell you that too?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
All right? We'll get to that. I want you to think about it, all right? Because you're just blurting stuff out. I want you to really just
it's football season.
Marinate. Blake, what do you want to see?
This is graphic, but I want to see a lot of making out in the stands.
I like it. Kyle Field style. Let's go.
I've never complained about making out.
He's the pastor too on the show. Just let y'all know that.
I want to see us put up 50 points. I want Wigman to play 2.5 quarters. We start moving some other people in, getting some other people time, and just see what a lot of these young guys can do and give them some game experience in the friendly confines of Kyle Field. I want to see complete annihilation. I'd love to see 50 points. And like Kelly said, a field goal, we give up a field goal, we give up a touchdown.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's going to be something bad.
Some kind of breakdown,
nice
whatever.
Return, turnover, they get short field.
Yeah.
We'll give them one.
It's fine.
Somebody posted on the forums a little while ago about the Andy Staples show. He did an interview with the guy from On 3. I can't remember that guy's name.
JD Pickell.
Yeah, that guy. So, and their premise was disasters, right? He's like, you're so positive. He said, tell us about a disaster. And he gave him 3 options. And he said, well, the first disaster I came up with, and he actually mentioned TexAgs more than once. They both did.
Good advertising.
They did. They were blasting for TexAgs. But he goes, if A&M plays New Mexico and scores 24 points, and they win 24-3, he said, TexAgs will melt down. He said, if they don't score at least 30 points, TexAgs the servers might explode. And it was really funny how they were kind of. Yeah. You should watch that. Y'all check that out when you get a chance. It's on the board.
If we only score 24 points, and I know you only do the luchador when you.
Well, we do it all the time, but we wear the mask
when we win. If we beat them, let's say 24-3. Are you still calling that a win and wearing the mask?
I need to wear the mask. I need wins.
Yeah.
The question is, are you still wearing a mask if we only beat them 24-3?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear a half mask.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm wearing a COVID mask.
It's a win, but it's not fun.
So like they said, like the guy said, is that what do we want? That's true. If we scored 24 points and the offense is slow and stagnant and all these different things and the defense, they rush for 150 yards or something like that when they shouldn't. That would be a huge disappointment. So again, like Blake said, utter annihilation is what we need to see in this football game. That will get the fan base excited. That will get the team believing, hey, we are what we think we are.
Nick, put up the graphic real quick of New Mexico because I want to point out a couple things. First off, this is probably not a fair graphic because I know that they've had a huge turnover. But their total defense, again, just a number, not ridiculously bad, right? But their total offense, was it 180th? Is that what I see? 130th? Yeah, 180th would be impossible. That is really bad.
It's really bad.
This defense should not give up an inch. Now, again, they have a new quarterback coming from UAB and a new offensive coordinator who came from UAB as well.
And UAB has put up points in the past. They have an electric offense in the past.
But I don't care.
I don't care either.
I don't care if it's Miami. I don't care if it's New Mexico. I don't care who it is. This first one needs to matter. Mm-hmm. This first one, and I know it will. For those players, I hope they have stewed since before LSU, but really since LSU, what we should be. And that's the message I've been getting from these players. Follow-up question to that is, what do you expect to see? Because there's a want. I want to see 80 points. I want to see 50. I want us to roll. What do you think is a realistic expectation? Blake, you start.
I think we're going to dominate.
The want and expect are the same, I guess?
Yeah, I really do. I think our team so badly wants to get the taste out of their mouth from last year, and they did a little bit of that at LSU, but I think they want to make a statement and go, hey, this is not the same Texas A&M team that you saw last year. We are a new team, and we've got a new mission. And so I think we're going to see that.
Kelly?
I expect us to not cover the spread, but I do think we'll win by 4 touchdowns.
What is the spread? 38?
38.
It's a big number.
I mean, that's a big number.
For a team that didn't score a lot of points.
Yeah, like I think we'll beat them by 4 touchdowns. I think we'll dominate. I think we'll see Johnson at some point.
So in your world of what you expect to see, TexAgs will melt down.
Not necessarily. I mean, if we beat them 49 to, 21, we still beat them by 4 touchdowns. And we might melt down a little because we gave up 21 to these guys. But I don't think TexAgs is going to implode on the servers either.
And the way in which it happens, right?
Yeah.
If we're up 49 to
14
3,
and they score on the last
3
play
or 7,
something,
and we start rolling some
different.
guys
Yeah,
out there that aren't in the
That's why I say I think we'll dominate.
Yeah.
I think we'll win by 4 touchdowns. I don't think we'll cover the spread. But 50-3 sounds really nice.
You guys remember A&M South Carolina 2 years ago at Kyle Field where that game, like they had negative yards, I believe, at the end of the third quarter, if I remember
Yes, they
correctly.
did.
And then they scored a couple touchdowns at the end when they took everybody out. That's what I want. I can accept a couple scores if I get that for 90% of the game.
Hey, Roy May says you need to get a Phantom of the Opera mask if we, just a half face, half face one if we only win. He said if nothing else, Billy completely melting down would be funny to see.
That would be good. Shout out to Roy May. I did his show the other day. It was fun.
What do I expect to see? I'm going to be honest. I don't know. And here's why I say that. I've gone into last year is still fresh in my mind. And again, like I said, I've got hope. I'm excited, right? Then you bring me back down to asking me real questions. I don't want to answer real questions. I want to pretend like, oh, we're going to blow.
Right.
But if you ask me, we went into that. Who did we play last year? Sam Houston was
Sam
that the
Houston.
first game?
You were underwhelmed, right?
I was underwhelmed completely. And
Sam
then,
Houston scared me last year.
Yeah.
New Mexico still doesn't.
No, but again, it all boils down to that. Man, we there were so many times where we didn't look good, but then again, I've got that. This is a different team. They're a year older. All the things that we've been talking about all the way up until this point, I still have that little bit of the wound is not 100% healed over here. That I'm going, man, I don't know. I mean, I don't think we're going to lose the game. I'm not saying that. I think we'll win pretty handedly, but is it going to be utter domination like I want? That's what I'm hoping for. Will it be? I don't know. I'm somewhere in between those two.
Well, let's kind of go through it for a quick second. 2020, underwhelmed Vanderbilt.
Very underwhelmed.
Right?
And then we
I was
turned
there
around and
that
lost big to Alabama the very next week.
But from that, something good came. So, so game one doesn't necessarily tell you everything, but it can tell you a lot. Then the year after, Kent State. I came away underwhelmed, especially at the half, right? There were some certain things last year, Sam Houston. So the first game has been underwhelming the last 3 years. I don't remember 4 years ago, but the last 3 years have certainly been underwhelming. How nice would it be to have a Notre Dame Navy kind of game where you're like 49-3, and then you're like, all right, now we'll really know more about this team next week against Miami.
Yeah, that's what we need.
I'd love the conversation to be Connor Wegman looks amazing. That A&M offense is ridiculously creative. I mean, it was New Mexico, so we really don't know anything. But, man, they look great against New Mexico. That's the same conversation they're having about Notre Dame right now.
Yeah.
You know?
We're going to be pretty vanilla.
Hartman looks great. Hartman for Heisman. I mean, it was Navy, but he's in the conversation. I mean, we could have that conversation about Connor Wigman on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. I don't think he'll get the same kind of love.
No, he won't.
But
I mean, it is New Mexico.
That. Yeah. Let's hit a break. We'll come back here next on TexAgs Radio. Estamos aquí. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the fan show presented by
Gerard Construction.
Gentlemen, I got a pretty simple question for you, and I think all of us have learned some
we're
lessons.
simple men, so we should be able to answer this.
This is true. And by the way, inconvenient potholes like, dude, we don't run a 3-4 defense. Let's move on. That's on the YouTube page. Have you guys changed the way you evaluate A&M entering a season because of the last 2 years? And I'll set it up like this. Number 6 team in the country, everybody thought that, right? That's. But we also thought like they were going to be pretty good because of all the talent, and we think Haynes is the truth. There wasn't any film on Haynes the year prior. We just came from 2020. We're building. Got a brand new offensive line. We got a brand new this, brand new that, like new quarterback who gets hurt, right? So because of some of the battle scars that you have gone through, and it looks like you're ready to go first.
I'm ready.
Have you changed the way you evaluate your team or just college football teams in general?
Great question.
Thank
all
you,
right?
sir.
And here's why I like this question is because I think about this kind of a lot. I've tried to remember, and I always consider myself a realist when it comes to this. I'm not a pessimist and I'm not an over optimist, right? I'm kind of in between, right? So the last time I went into an A&M season thinking this is it, we're going to be awesome, was 2013. Right? I remember going into 2012 going, man, we lost Tannehill, we lost Fuller, we lost Cyrus Gray, we lost all these guys. And now we got all these new guys. We're going in the SEC. We're not going to be very good. It's going to take us a few years. And then, of course, we have one of our best seasons in years, right? 2013, I was like, we're coming off that huge Oklahoma win. And I'm like, yes. Then 2013 became kind of a bummer. And then Johnny's gone. And then I'm like, oh, Kenny Hill. I mean, this team's not going to be very good. Then Kenny Hill has a blowout first game. And then the rest of the season, that season kind of went downhill.
Quite a quarterback mess.
But then Trevor Knight came in, and I wasn't excited, but that season turned out pretty good. I thought it was an okay season. Yeah. And then, but ever since then, I have not really gone into a season going, this is it. I know because and I've been right. I hate to say it. I've been right every time. But I go into every season kind of, I guess, a little, flinchy, a little gun shy because of the 44 years I've been watching A&M football has led me to that. And so hate to be that guy right off the bat, but you asked the question.
You're flinchy.
I'm flinchy, and I'm always flinchy, and I'm flinchy even now as we're sitting here, even though I do think this team has every piece to blow doors off of everybody they play. I'm still a little flinchy.
So and I'll follow that up with, there's teams, like I have one team that I know is going to win every year.
Yeah.
And it's a soccer team in Europe because of their history. Every other thing, even Astros who have been successful, Rockets, Texans, obviously, like there's like this is been beat into me that like something bad will happen.
Dude, that's a great one. So I was a Spurs fan for growing up and for the last however many years, and the Tim Duncan years. I mean, every year going into it, I was like, they're going to be awesome. Yeah. And every year they were. I mean, they didn't win it every single year, but they made it deep into the playoffs. It was only an
odd number of years that they won it.
I always know that they were going to be they won 5. Right. They won 5 in a 20-year span. Right? That's awesome. And every year they never missed the playoffs one time. They made deep playoff runs. I always knew that team was going to be good. I cannot say that. I haven't been able to say that with A&M. And I think the last time I did was 2013, and I got let down.
Burned, yeah.
And so I'm flinchy and gun shy.
Kelly?
I'm a little flinchy. Every time my team starts, whatever sport it is, like you say, it's the Mavericks or the Rangers or the Aggies in baseball, basketball, or football. I look at what they could be. And that's the way I evaluate every season. Like, man, where could we be? We got this guy and we got that guy, and if they all achieved, then we're going to be here and we're going to be great. Every sport I look at that way. Mm-hmm. With that being said, after last year, going into this year, I still think that way. And then at the back of my mind, I'm going, yeah, but then there was last year. Because last year, like you were saying, talent, returning players, we're going to be great if everybody achieves. And we were terrible. And so this year I'm thinking, we got the guys back, another year in the weight room on the defensive line. The offensive line, we got guys back. Another year in the weight room. We got a new Petrino calling plays. We got Connor at quarterback, which had been the guy a lot last year. We got safety returning. I can't think of it. Didmonte returning. We've got all these guys. If everybody just does what they're supposed to do, we're going to be awesome. But then there was last year, and last year was ugly. And so I'm starting to become more shell-shocked, I guess is the way to say that. But I'm not yet.
Again, the question is more like, do you go into a season evaluating differently? Because it's not just about talent. It's about experience. And Pothole brings up another point. Can you imagine if Kellen Mond's a quarterback in 2021? If you get that Kellen Mond that we saw the last year, that team is not 8-4. That team's better than 8-4. I don't know if you have the magical night against Bama, but you're a better team with Kellen Mond.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I agree with the fact that Kellen would have been a better quarterback in that season for sure.
Yeah, a couple things. One, I don't know if Josh Pate came up with this or who came up with this, but I like where they're going, hey, what's the ceiling and what's the floor? And I like that way because Matt, you say you're not an optimist. You are an optimist. But to go, A&M, I mean, even Kelly coming in and going, we're going 12-0. And I know you were joking a little bit about that.
In there, but
But you're going, okay, this team with this much talent and the coaching staff that we have and the resources and everything, we could win 11 games. We could win 12 games. Probably 10 or 11 is probably ceiling. Is our floor 5 wins again? No. It's probably 8, 7, somewhere in there. Right. And I like that just of going, okay, there are some things that could happen. Depth plays into that. I think for me, the way I've evaluated, I'll be honest, I got a little drunk on talent the last couple of years. I mean, we had some glory years in the 90s where we'd have these stud recruiting classes, but it wasn't measured like it is today. So now we're coming in top 5 class, number 1 class, and I'm not used to that. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, we're going to be amazing. But to realize there's more than just that. Culture matters.
See, and I'm glad you said that.
Culture matters.
That was my next point because, you need talent, but you need fit and culture. The right guys, because we live in an NIL world where you can transfer, and guys, unfortunately, they're being paid, and they almost don't feel like they have to listen. You got to get the right guys in your system.
Yeah. Georgia's the blueprint. I think Georgia is the blueprint. Georgia,
for now,
similar to us, had a long drought, not near as long as our drought, but
and their drought was a little higher.
Yeah, and their
10-win drought.
Yeah, their drought, but they rode the Georgia fans rode a roller coaster like we have, right? I mean, they went from 1980, and now they've won back to back, and now they're every year they're right now they're the team to beat in college football, and so watching Georgia win, 2 years ago, and then again last year gives me hope as an Aggie fan. I remember them going, it's been since 1980. And I thought to myself, can you imagine if we were there? They said it's been since 1939 that this team is finally here. And I can't. So I have that hope that there's going to be a time that's going to happen. And I look at Georgia, and we have similar talent. We have pedigreed coaches. But it's a culture thing. I think it's a culture thing, and they've got a winning culture. And I watched that Swamp Kings documentary.
It was really good.
How good is that, by the way?
I mean, I wish they would have gotten more into the dark side, but I thought
any team that had Tim Tebow and Aaron Hernandez on it was crazy to me.
And they went to dinner together.
Yeah, they were buddies. They were friends and stuff. But you saw they had these 5-star guys come in, and the one guy didn't want to work.
He didn't want to work, yeah.
He didn't want to work when he was young. And that older guy, I can't remember his name, but he was
Sealy, not Sealy.
He's the one that Urban Meyer saw
Yeah.
immediately. This guy's a leader, and he was so that culture inside that's a fun way to look at it because that was a winning team, and you got to see the culture and what they did and how the heart and how they fought and all that, and that was an awesome. Have y'all seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Have you seen it?
I've seen some of it, yeah.
It's
You need to
fantastic.
watch it. It's fantastic. I sat down and watched all 4 episodes in one sitting. It was that good. So I really enjoyed it, but watching that and seeing how culture matters and how these guys come together matters. And again, like you said, I don't think we're going to see that exact kind of thing again, just because of the NIL and transfer. These guys aren't stuck; they're not having to, play behind people. And
Brandon Seiler,
that guy was. Hey, I would want that dude on my team any day.
Well, and I actually made a segment about this earlier in the week. That Florida season, and I don't know if you guys remember it, but that Florida season, there was 2 games that came down to the absolute. There was more than 2 games that came down to a score, but absolute wire, right? Like they had to block a field goal and an extra point against
Arkansas,
South Carolina.
Yeah.
And so they lost.
Spurrier.
The Tennessee game came down to the last possession. Eric Ainge throws an interception.
Is this after Tim Tebow's promise, by the way?
This
was his sophomore year.
This
The
is what-
promise was
no,
his junior year.
This
And Chris
was
Leak
actually
was-
wasn't.
And Chris Leak is still the quarterback.
I don't even think was Tebow was there for that one. Chris Leak was still the starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's right.
But the
This is
bottom
freshman year.
line is that season painted this picture to me like this is how it's supposed to be. Like these championship teams, you look at last year, Georgia, not really, but how close the LSU games were, how close the Alabama games were for themselves, not even against A&M, against everybody they played, Arkansas, all these teams. That is life in the SEC. Florida went through it in 2006. They got lucky a couple times. If not, we're not talking about them the same way. So you do need some luck to go along with all the good things. And you do. And that's why when I see the evaluation, I need some veterans that you don't have to be the 5-star veteran.
You just need a Brandon Seiler.
You got to be a dog. You
Yeah.
got to teach you, like, hey, no, we don't do that here, young man. This is how we practice.
He was in that weight room just absolutely killing it. And he was the one setting the example in that weight room.
Who do you think that is for this team, this Aggie team?
Well,
Nice.
no. Well, actually, I asked Shamar Stewart that the other day. Shamar was here for Stacked, and I asked him because we talked about that Florida documentary, and he said Fidel Diggs is that guy.
Nice.
Which I didn't expect. Like, oh yeah,
Nice.
he gets us going in the weight room, and I go, it's the same environment.
He's
It's
my-
football.
He's my new favorite player.
What you find is when you have those guys, you get a lot luckier. You get a lot luckier when you have guys like Diggs, is who they say it is, or Seiler. You got one or two of those guys, you get a lot luckier than teams that don't have one or two of those guys.
I feel like Leal was that guy for that 2020 team.
Yeah. And you look at a guy like Anais who is downfield blocking every chance he gets.
Sure.
That's the kind of guy, and those other receivers see the older guy doing that, and man, those are the kind of guys that are awesome. That's a good question.
When
Who
the
is that?
the older guy is early, when the star of the team leaves late and he sets the foundation, the young guys are like, I guess I got to do it. When the older guys are leaving early and don't care the same way,
We're skipping quarterback meetings.
hello.
Michael Clemens type of guys.
Michael Clemens.
Michael
type of guy.
Clemens was that guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the dude.
No
too.
doubt about it. Let's do this. I want you guys to draft a position that you're going to evaluate. Now, if you're not here next week, I want you to text me your thoughts, but we're going to draft, and you have to draft one. And if this guy takes linebacker and you want a linebacker, too bad. You're evaluating another one because you guys are going to be fake analysts, all right? So
Fake analyst.
That's what we are.
Let's be honest, guys. You're not
I'm a real analyst.
You're not real
You guys
analysts.
are fake
I mean,
analysts.
I'm a real analyst.
I'm a roofer. I'm not an analyst.
Right. He coached high
while
school
back.
ball,
A
in
while
the
back.
60s. Like, it doesn't count, all right? This is basketball. We're talking football. Blake, you're the one who hasn't been here most recent. I want you to draft a position, what you want to watch, evaluate, and why.
We doing offense and defense or just one total?
Whatever you want. I don't care.
Whatever position group you want.
Oh, you're saying two positions?
Yeah, we're going to get one on offense
I think we
and one
usually
on
just
defense?
do one.
Just
We usually do one.
Just
yeah.
one.
Just checking.
Man, for this week, heading into the New Mexico,
Yep.
I want to watch. Can I pick a group like secondary?
I don't care.
Yeah.
bro.
All right.
Yeah.
This is not China. You can do whatever
There's
you
been
want.
there's been a lot of movement at our cornerback position, and I want to see what some of these transfer veterans in. There's just a lot of unknowns.
Yep.
And so we've got some transfers coming in that I think are going to be spectacular, but we've got some young guys that are Javion Thomas from South Oak Cliff that are coming in and making some waves, and you're hearing some things about him. I'm like, all right, who's going to step up? Who are going to be in that legit two deep, because you have to have a two deep to play cornerback. And then even at safety, I'm super excited about Bryce Anderson playing that nickel. I think he's going to be a star. That dude, like to your point earlier, he's just a football player.
He is.
That guy,
I like him a lot.
He is a football player.
And who's going to be the
Play alongside
the third
Damani.
guy? Yeah.
Play
Is it going to be Gilbert? Is it going to be Kerr? Is it going to any of these guys? That's intriguing to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching those positions pretty closely.
We got to hit a break here soon. Kelly, what are you drafting?
I'm taking running backs just because I want to see who rises to the top, who's doing the little things like picking up blitzes
Yep.
and not screwing that up, and who's catching passes and running routes correctly. They can all run the ball. That's how they got here. But I want to see who does the other little things that kind of pushes them to the top, takes a spot, and gets the majority of the reps.
That's good.
Matt?
I'm taking the most fun one. I'm taking the D line because I think they're going to have a field day.
Let's go, baby.
They're going to. They're going against offensive linemen that they're like my size. They're going to just absolutely dominate these guys.
They have a
I'm
190
a
pound
big
offensive
dude, but
lineman.
he would dominate me in a battle royale.
You would tap out. Like,
I would tap out. I'd tap out before it even got
I was
started.
like,
No,
can I
I'm
tap out
dude.
before I show up?
Yeah.
Can I do that?
See, watch him start breathing
Hey,
hard. I'm like, I'm out.
But
I'm out.
the guys who do MMA don't start fights, well, unless they're drunk at a bar. But like they teach you, like, nah, it's not worth it. You avoid the fight. So
Yeah.
he wouldn't fight. I would still fight you because I'm not good, but he would not.
I wouldn't fight anybody. I'm a giant teddy bear.
We'll hit
I'm
a
a
break.
lover, not a fighter.
That's what we love about you.
We're going to do numbers because these guys are fans. We're going to see what kind of numbers Connor and the group are going to put up. We'll do that next on TexAgs Radio. And we're back. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the fan show presented by
Gerard Construction.
Thank you very much. What kind of numbers are guys going to put up, all right? All right, over the top. You got me kind of inspired here, all right?
Like a truck.
Yeah, buddy.
It's like a switch, like a machine.
Connor, what kind of numbers is Connor going to put up? I don't know why I'm whispering, but it feels better for the segment. What kind of numbers?
Lincoln Hawk.
Yeah,
That was his
Lincoln
name.
Hawk. That
Lincoln
was his
Hawk.
name.
That was his name.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, and he beat Bull Hurley in the finals. Hey,
Did
anyone,
this really work? That does.
I did not.
The
Not
hand
this
thing?
detailed, no.
No.
Y'all don't know what we're talking about?
I know over the top,
Yeah.
but I didn't know as much about it as you do.
I didn't know like
dude,
their
it was
middle
my-
names.
It's one of my
and
favorite
Yeah.
movies growing
favorite
up.
colors.
Hey, there are people listening right now that know exactly what I'm talking about.
And there are kids in the back who are like, what the heck are they talking about?
These old
Why do they always
geezers.
bring up old movies?
Yeah, because old movies are awesome. That's why
Well-
we made movies good in the old days.
I
not
don't
like
think it
today.
was that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. All right, so numbers.
was.
What kind of numbers are we putting up? I'm thinking let's go with Connor. Connor somewhere in the 250 range, maybe 2 touchdowns. I don't think he has a huge game just because we're going to be, like you said, pretty vanilla. I think. I don't think we're going to show a lot. I think that we'll be able to run the ball probably pretty well. Running back by committee. I think all 3 running backs should have a pretty good day. Numbers wise, all in the. But I'd say we run probably total 200 yards of rushing, 450 yards of offense total. Score a pretty good clip of touchdowns and end it hopefully with a nice little blowout. That's my thought.
Kelly, what kind of numbers Connor?
'Cause
got
I don't think Connor will make it to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, are we specifically referencing Connor or just numbers?
Right
in
now,
general?
just Connor. We'll go through some others.
I think Connor could put up 250, but it really depends on how long he plays.
Yeah.
I mean, if we do score 35 in the first half, he may not play long enough to put up 250. But I think 250 is the right number in a blowout like this. Get us a lead and take a seat.
Like,
The number I'm looking for, Connor, is 0, and I mean 0 picks.
keep that
0
streak going.
interceptions.
Excellent.
Yeah, just keep it going. You know, it really does come down to how many quarters he gets to play. Because if things go as planned, he should be out 2.5. Start the second half, first series, the second half, and then he's done for the day.
He could have a rushing touchdown too.
Yeah.
Blake,
Blake,
throw that in there.
Wouldn't surprise me.
keep it with you. How many sacks? Because this team doesn't get that many sacks.
Well,
For
we
now.
didn't last year.
But this year's a different year.
That's right. We got a healthy Fadil Diggs. We got to trim down Overton. We got some guys on the outsides. I think
And
we're gonna,
Overton's now like 18, isn't he? Didn't he start last year at 17?
yeah. He came in a
17,
year
yeah,
early
Yeah, he
for
was
sure.
17. Yeah. So he's like almost 19 years old now.
So how many sacks? 4? 5? I'm putting numbers in your head.
Oh man,
I'm
3?
taking 5.
2.
I'm taking 5.
Kelly with 5.
I'm gonna go
5.
3.5.
3.5. I don't think. Okay, you can get a half in sacks. That's true.
I'll go 5.
Okay.
I think that's a good number. I mean, you got Dindy. Dindy's going to play for the first time. You got Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart. You got Diggs. You got Anai White. You got
It also kind of depends on how aggressive.
Malik Silla. They said Malik Silla's had a great camp, and that guy's a speed rusher off the edge. And so there's all kinds of guys.
Kind of depends on how aggressive Durkin
How many
gets.
how many interceptions? We're getting some?
One.
1. Okay, I don't like that. I want more. 1.
I'll go 2.
I'm going 2 too.
Yeah, I'll go
Why
2.
not?
You might wear a 2-2.
So, well, are
your
you trying to
choice.
judge? Are you
I
judging the 2-2?
I said you might wear one. You take it how you like,
And I'm
sir.
confirming it. All right. Since you did that, I can't do another question. Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate
It's
it.
all my fault.
Appreciate you. And appreciate Gerard Construction. Thank you very much, Blake, for coming in. Mateo, appreciate you.
man.
All right, over the top.
Can I get a
dog.
defensive score this week?
No. Yeah, you can, absolutely. As long as
Thought
it's
I'd
A&M.
ask.
It's just,
David said no.
as long as it's not the Rangers. All right, gentlemen
Hard to score on
and
defense in
friends,
baseball.
ladies, everybody, we will see you mañana. Billy will be here. Brian Jones will be here. And OB, bye.